Report. 37%. Chapter 150. Return, God's Gamble. Congratulations to all the geniuses, you have persisted in the world battlefield for 3 days. Remaining number of people in the world battlefield, 11.35 million. Transmission is about to start, please get ready. A familiar voice sounded in everyone's mind. It's finally over, no more hiding. I can finally leave, human race Susie, I never want to see him again. After going out, immediately close the world boundary wall, and we must not let him progress. There are a total of 100 million Tianzhou, and the human Susie almost killed half of them. It's too terrifying. It's even scarier than the demons. Originally the number 1 blood demon race was killed by him. This moment, all over the battlefields of the world, countless arrogances howled. Especially those alien races who participated in the last event. They witnessed the rise of a demon. Sister Yanur, your highness is too powerful. Jade Rabbit Collar. Bai Mengmeng stared at the top of the killing list, pleasantly surprised. I'm even happier than I won the first place. Well, see you later. Chu Yuyan smiled sweetly, dignified and beautiful. It's over. Suzy collected the last batch of treasure chests into the territory. Standing on the steel wall. Glance around. I feel a little nostalgic. 3 days. His harvest was astonishing. For him. This resource, it is enough to make his road to becoming a god take a big step forward. After going out, then you can start the road to the transformation of the realm of the gods. While thinking, an incomparably huge beam of light enveloped the huge territory. Swipe. Suzy, together with the entire territory, disappeared in an instant. In the void of the small heavens, one by one, the upper gods and god kings with their auras oppressing the heavens waited quietly. Human race, angel race, demon race, titan race. Hundreds of races participating in the battle of Xiaoju Tianzhou gathered here. They are looking forward to the ranking of the first Xiaoju Tianzhou battle. Terran area, a human god, Wang Li, stood before them all. Behind are dozens of high gods. And in it, Wu Qingying remains independent from the world. Standing next to him are 2 beautiful women who are all over the country and all over the city. Sister Yinger, there is only the last world left. Guess where your apprentice can be ranked. Li Zimu, who was standing on the right side of Wu Qingying, helped the eyes on the eye sockets, turned his head sideways, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and smiled authentically. It goes without saying that my disciple is of course the 10th 441. Wu Qingying heard the words, flicking the ponytail behind her lightly, said bluntly. At the beginning, she had personally played with the shells from the Suzy unit. Don't look at her playing with it easily in her hands. But that's because she's the upper god. Put it bluntly. That is the most terrible battlefield killing machine. And the mode of world battlefield. It's like it was made just for him. To her guess, her good disciple Suzy must be killing people inside. Just like she was back then. Seeing her proud face. Another heroic Feng Judian couldn't help but wondered. So confident in your apprentice. The number 1 on the list now has 90 million killing points. Talking, she clicked on an interface. Number 1, machine family, 0, 90 million points. No, 2, Zerg, Claire, 88 million points. The 3rd place, human race, Feng Zixuan, 8,790 square points. 4th place, Terran, Lin Feng, 8,500 points. No, 5, Protoss. No, 6, no, 7, Ghost Clan. Of course, how could he be my apprentice? Wu Qingying is very satisfied with the apprentice she chose. Not only is he very handsome, and it's terrifyingly powerful. If both of them are in the same era, she felt that it was hard to say which of the 2 could beat the other. If this strength is not enough to traverse the world battlefield, what the hell? At least the killing point breaks through 100 million easily. As for how much can be achieved, it's hard to say. For this, Feng Judian smiled and didn't say anything. But there is some disbelief in my heart. The first machine clan, known as the killing machine on the battlefield. Only 90 million. Can someone kill more than the machine race? I don't think so. A questioning voice sounded, and then a young middle-aged man with double pupils came over. When you see someone, all 3 women showed disgusted faces. Lin Dong, if your skin is itchy and you don't need to deal with it, I can teach you a lesson. Wu Qingying stared at him with her phoenix eyes, and said coldly. Wu Qingying, you haven't become a god king yet. How dare you act presumptuously in front of Mo Lao? Lin Dong who pointed at Wu Qingying and said angrily. Boy Lin Dong, don't mention me. I don't care what you guys want to do. Mo Shang, who was gray-haired but full of energy, suddenly turned his head with a smile and said. As everyone knows, Wu Qingying will become the king of gods. It's just a matter of time. He would not offend a future god king for the sake of a higher god. Wen Yan. The three girls couldn't help but let out a chuckle, and looked at Lin Dong playfully. A look of embarrassment appeared on Lin Dong's face. He didn't expect Mo Lao to speak suddenly. Didn't you say that my apprentice, Su Zi, can't reach the top? Do you dare to take a bet? Wu Qingying rolled her eyes and asked with a smile. How to bet? Lin Dong asked. Just make a bet of 100 million source crystals, betting that I will be the top 3. If you win, I will give you 100 million source crystals. But if you lose, how about you give me 100 million source crystals instead? Wu Qingying crossed her arms and hugged her chest, provocatively. Disciples should be worrying about Yuanjing now. Just take this opportunity to earn some resources. It is good. Lin Dong agreed without hesitation. 100 million source crystals. For him, the upper god, it is not much. Wait, Sister Yinger, I want to participate too. I also add 100 million, betting that Suzy can reach the top. Will Lin Dong dare to suppress it? At this time, Li Zimu suddenly said, You two have participated, how can I not participate? I will also come to 100 million to have fun. Feng Judian also said, Can. Lin Dong sneered in his heart. He secretly learned. This time the machine clan sent. But it is rare for the machine race to meet in tens of thousands of years, the war machine Kai species. Its terrifying battlefield killing ability. Enough to make the gods tremble. Suzy is just a plant type. What to compare it with? Brother Zhao, do you want to come later? Lin Dong said to Zhao Chengsheng, the Qinglong lord not far away. At the same time, pass the news you get to the other party. Zhao Chengsheng looked at Lin Dong, who was as stable as Mount Tai. Thinking that his heirs also lack source crystals. Then he agreed. I apologize to the three girls. Sorry, I bet 100 million Suzy to lose. Wu Qingying and the three girls looked a bit ugly and snorted coldly. I'll bet 100 million too, and I'll lose the bet on Su. Me too. After a while, almost half of the high god lords who came here voted for Suzy to lose. Do you still want to gamble? If you lose, you have to take out 15 billion Qian Nujiao source crystals. Even if you are high gods, you still have to hurt your muscles and bones, right? Lin Dong said with a smile. Seeing Wu Qingying's ugly face, he felt a burst of joy in his heart. Exclamation mark. Isn't it just taxes? My wife won't be able to take it out. Wu Qingying has confidence in Suzy and said directly. I also gamble. It's only more than 10 billion, and I can take it out by myself. Feng Judian said calmly. It seems that billions are nothing more than sprinkling water. I bet too. Li Zimu said with a smile. Little Suzy, my aunt is all for you. Can't let my aunt lose. Old Mo, do you want to participate? Lin Dong said to the old man at the front. At the same time, he passed the news he had received to Mo Shang again. Oh, Mo Shang was a little moved. Seeing Lin Dong's swearing expression, it is obvious that the news is true. Although only 300 million per person. But the God King family, the family is too large, and consumes a huge amount of source crystals. But suddenly the country, he seems to have sensed something. Eyes widened suddenly. I don't play anymore. You guys play. Yun Shang shook his head. Almost got scammed. Report. 38%. Chapter 151. Ascending to the top, he didn't slaughter a world, did he? Angel Tribe. Princess Kaisa should be in the last world battlefield. With the talent of the little princess, she will definitely be able to break into the top 10. A 16-winged female angel of the high god said with a full smile. That's right. After all, with the talent and strength of the little princess, it's not difficult to get a predecessor. The 16-winged male angel of the upper god next to him also said confidently. Wen Yan, standing at the very front, the man wearing a dazzling gold crown made up of countless bright gemstones smiled slightly. He is the king of the angel gods. How could my youngest daughter secretly come to participate in the battle of Xiaoju Tianzhao? How could she hide it from him? He also wants to see Kesha today. How is it compared to other Tianzhao of the 10,000 races? Morido should have killed the human lord and successfully occupied his body. Demon area. Digital high gods communicate with each other. That's right. As long as Suzy successfully occupies the human race, with his identity, it will become an important nail for us to plant in the human race. The future is destined to belong to our demon race. Arrows the heavens and let the abyss descend. The demon king at the front laughed lightly. In order to let the races of these order camps agree to the demon 630 race to participate in this Xiaoju Tianzhao competition. They took out a precious heart of the world. The goal is to make Morido swallow Suzy. At that time, not only captured a monster, the heart of the world will still be theirs. Zerg area. Bailingzi doesn't know if he met Susie in the world battlefield. She brought in 3 artifacts. If she meets Susie, she can probably suppress them. But Bailingzi is very selfish. I don't know if she dares to fight Susie. For some reason, Irina felt a little upset. In the hall of a villa in Qinghai City. Mom, hurry up, we will be on the kill list soon. I don't know where Susie Big Brother will be. Xiao Qingluan kept urging Lu Piao. I've only seen it a few times, just called Susie Big Brother, Susie Big Brother. Lu Piao twisted her plump and juicy buttocks speechlessly, gave Xiao Qingluan a white calf look. Finished speaking, Lu Piao apologized to Lu Ruyan, who was sitting on the sofa at the side. Miss Lu, don't mind, this little girl Xiao Qingluan just likes chasing stars. She regards His Royal Highness Susie as an idol. It's okay, I haven't been young yet. Lu Ruyan forced a smile at the corner of his mouth, and clenched his fists tightly. What do I mind? Susie and I are just a teacher-student relationship. Clear and clean. How could there be a misunderstanding? Phew, alright. Lu Piao breathed out a breath of fragrance, reached out to wipe off the fragrant sweat on her forehead, and pushed a few strands of black hair behind her ears. A superb beauty full of temptation arises spontaneously. Especially the plump and well-proportioned peaches. Even Lu Ruyan couldn't help but take a second look. Thought, fortunately, Susie only likes big breasts and long legs. If you like hips, that's it. At the same time, a picture of Xiao Zudian appeared in the living room. In the little heavens, suddenly, in the boundless sky, a dazzling golden light burst out, shining in the sky. An incomparably huge golden list appeared in the sky. Attracted the attention of countless people. 0, will it be number 1? The highest in the family vaguely calculates that 0 will follow the number 1 in the killing list. Who will it be? In the small world of the Machina, a petite, golden-eyed red-haired, a girl with a pair of mechanical ears, looking at the gold list in the sky. Next moment, the original ranking on the gold list gradually became blurred and finally cleared. Then from bottom to top, the names of each race appeared one after another. 10,000th place, Terran, by Mengmeng killing points, 23 million. 9,267th place, human race, Chu Yuyan, killing points, 25 million. 1,888th place, Terran, He Wuxuang, killing points, 51 million. Ranking of all races, refreshed quickly. Sister Yanur, we've entered the top 10,000. When Bai Mengmeng saw his name on the list, Yuan Fu jumped up and shouted. Well, we're on the list. Chu Yuyan pursed her lips and smiled with joy on her face. But her attention was still on the huge list. She is looking forward to the top position. His name emerges. The list continues to climb rapidly upwards. Soon came to the top 10, top 5. 5th place, Terran, Lin Feng, 8,500 points. Lin Dong, how did you drop 1 place? Can anyone surpass Lin Feng? Lin Dong's heart felt a little uneasy. 4th place, Terran, Feng Zixuan, 87.9 million points. Xiao Zixuan, I'm sorry, it seems that she has found the reason why she doesn't accept you as an apprentice. When she saw Feng Zixuan's ranking, she also dropped 1 place. She knew. Suzy won. Really? No. 3, Zerg, Claire, 88 million points. 2nd place, Mechanical Family, 0, 90 million points. Ha ha ha, my apprentice will be next. When seeing the second, Wu Qingying said directly, attract surrounding races. Report, 38%. Chapter 152. The Gods Amazed, Group Favorite. After seeing Suzy's name, that horrible killing spot, even the gods of the heavens lose their senses for a moment. What a terrifying lord of the human race, is this why the Zerg race rewarded him? If he grows up, he may be the next Wu Qingying. How did he do it? The killing point of 1.5 billion is more than 15 times that of other contestants. Has he slaughtered a whole world? He has such terrifying potential before becoming a god. If he becomes a god, then it's okay. The human race is really lucky. A Wu Qingying appeared thousands of years ago, and now his apprentice is so evil. I am afraid that after thousands of years, a high god will appear again in the human race. Get in touch immediately. There is a fox girl of the right age in my 9-tailed fox clan, and I would like to marry her. Go, recruit the saintesses of our family, and we must talk about a marriage today. Some races are very afraid of Suzy, and there are also races who fancy his potential and want to marry him. My good apprentice, you really give face to the teacher. Wu Qingying smiled authentically. I feel more and more good-looking. Spanning thousands of years, her apprentice once again smashed through the world battlefield and reached the top of the killing list with an absolute advantage. Kill points. It's several times higher than it was at the beginning. Congratulations, you have accepted a good apprentice. In the future, the master and apprentice double God King will be enough to make a good story. Feng Judian came back to his senses, took a deep look at Suzy's name, turned sideways, and congratulated Wu Qingying. The 1.5 billion killing points. It represents not only terrible strength. It is even more representative of its terrifying potential to crush a generation. At the same time, she mourned silently for her niece Feng Zixuan. Feng Zixuan in this life may be the same as she was back then. Doomed to be suppressed. Sister Yinger, I also congratulate you for being such a good student. Li Muzzy pursed his lips and smiled, a trace of joy flashed in his eyes. Little A's has such strength. She was happy for her sister. If he knew that his son had such strength, he would be very happy. You are his uncles, and he will rely on you for help in the future. Wu Qingying was blessed by two good sisters and felt great satisfaction. Naturally, anyone who dares to bully the small with the big will be against me and our women's army. Feng Wuxuang is domineering and has a loud voice. She was warning Lin Dong and other high gods. She doesn't care about peer rivalry. But if someone wants to use the big to bully the small, then she is also a master who protects the calf. Don't worry, whoever dares to touch my nephew, I will make her regret it. Li Muzzy chuckled, but his voice was cold. During the last rookie trial, she still doesn't know. If it wasn't for Suzy's resurrection equipment, he is probably dead. She will never let what happened last time happen again. And the Zerg must pay the price. I glanced at Irina of the Zerg. A ray of coldness flashed across his eyes. Wu Qingying nodded, with a smile on her lips. With the assurance of these two, there will undoubtedly be several more layers of umbrellas on Suzy. Feng Judian is from the Feng family, the ruling family of the eastern region, with a high status. Li Zimu has several mysterious backgrounds, but his advancement speed is not much worse than hers. Among the group of sisters back then, only these two people can keep up with their footsteps and set foot in the realm of high gods. It can be seen that the origin of Plumwood is absolutely unusual. Several people talking. Without hesitation, it was passed into the ears of the surrounding high god lords. Immediately one by one shrank their necks. Even those who had some thoughts in their hearts just now dared not reveal them. Don't look at Wu Qingying as a commoner. But at that time, a women's army composed of female Tianzhao was established. These people, now at least they are middle gods. It also implicates countless powerful family forces, including many god kings and god emperor families. These ordinary high gods, naturally dare not go against it. Don't worry, this kid Suzy is the pride of my human race, no one dares to make things difficult for him. Mo Shang, who stood at the front, uttered a voice to ease the atmosphere. At the same time, he cast a glance at Lin Dong and warned him. Ask for flowers. Lin Dong smiled tremblingly, hiding the small thoughts in his heart. Looks like this Xiaoju Tianzhao competition will end early. After the end, bring Suzy to Phoenix Academy. Mo Shang told Wu Qingying. Yes, Mr. Mo, please take good care of my apprentice in the school. Facing Mo Shang, a divine king who has made great achievements in the human race, Wu Qingying is very respectful. Not only is it famous among the entire human race, he also serves as the master of the Phoenix Academy in the eastern region, holding countless resources in his hands. If Suzy can get his appreciation, it will be easier in Phoenix Academy. After all, back then, she suffered a lot when she newly joined Phoenix Academy. Point 0. It is only there that one can train a true genius. Lin Dong and you, hurry up and take out the bet. Wu Qingying suddenly said. Feng Judian and Li Muzzy also looked over. Immediately, Lin Dong's face turned ugly. He felt that there were several sharp eyes behind him that wanted to kill him. Where is my princess? The emperor of the angel god dynasty looked a little embarrassed. The two high god angels on the left and right had the same ugly expressions. Keisha, the princess of their angel family, not only did not make the list, she even disappeared. Find it for me. If you are alive, you want to see a person. If you are dead, you want to see a corpse. 27. His tone was cold, and he was a little worried. What about Morido? Why isn't he on the list? What did he do in the world battlefield? A group of demon gods checked the killing list several times. But I didn't see Morido's name. Instead, it was Suzy's name, shining at the top of the list. The lark is gone. Was it killed by Suzy? In the Zerg area, Yilanline clenched her fists tightly. Feeling a little uneasy, she just noticed Ruioruo's peeping. But thinking of the implementation of the Zerg plan, only then suppressed the throbbing in his heart and looked towards the southeast corner of the endless continent. It was surrounded by Zerg. Report. 38%. Chapter 153. The unreconciled Feng Zixuan, the desperate contemporary Tianzhao, the void covered with black silk. Suzy big brother, so fierce. In the villa, Xiao Qingluan looked up at the names at the top of the killing list. A pair of star-like eyes, full of worship and confusion. For Xiao Qingluan, Suzy is the best peer she has ever met. In this age of mighty power, power is the easiest thing for girls to admire and admire. Coupled with Suzy's handsome and extraordinary appearance. To Xiao Qingluan, who is just beginning to love her. It is simply a dimensionality reduction blow. Hey, dead. Xiao Qingluan's confused appearance made Lu Piaopiao couldn't help shaking his head. At a young age, it may not be a good thing to meet someone who is too amazing. Maybe it will be the regret of her life. 030, however. Lu Piaopiao frowned slightly, looking up and down the 10,000 names on the list. It was finally confirmed that she did not see Xiao Wanqing's name. But the soul lamp she set for her at home has not been extinguished. Explain that nothing happened to it. This is a blessing in misfortune. She understands. Xiao Wanqing always wanted to surpass Suzy in her heart. But I'm afraid there is only another way. This time I'm really going to soar for 9 days. Lu Ruyan sat on the sofa, propped her snow-white chin with one hand, looked at Suzy's golden name with her beautiful eyes, and smiled sweetly at the corner of her mouth. I am very proud. The students she taught. Now trample the arrogance of the heavens and all races under your feet. Even if I die now, I have no regrets. Lu Piaopiao naturally discovered Lu Ruyan's strangeness. I can only sigh with emotion that Suzy is so charming. He even conquered his teacher. Hateful. In a canyon in the eastern part of the endless continent. Feng Judian stared at the golden list in the sky, clenched his fists tightly. She worshipped Lord Vermilion Bird from a young age. Want to be her disciple. But even if she invites out her little aunt Feng Judian. She did not agree. It was clearly stated at the beginning. Concentrate on the territory and accept disciples because of your heart. But now he has taken in an apprentice from a small place. This made her feel reconciled. She wants to see. What is so special about the person who is accepted as an apprentice by her idol? But now the name of the top, and the killing point that is enough to make people desperate. He has almost won the Little Zhu Tianzhao competition. No one can get past his kill point. No, he is likely to be just a unit with powerful battlefield capabilities, but the combat power of a hero is not necessarily. Feng Zixuan's eyes flickered. The world battlefield cannot show whether a person is strong or not. After all, in the melee, even powerful heroes and arms should be discouraged. This world battlefield, her hero didn't show her due strength. It is rumored that there will be a coliseum in the main city. For duels between heroes. Suzy, when the time comes, I will definitely defeat you. Quote. Thinking so. In Feng Zixuan's heart, flames surged again. Suzy, south of the endless continent. On a floating island. Lin Feng looked up at the names on the sky and was a little silent. If Suzy only has more than 100 million killing points, then he can be in the next world battlefield. Reverse the killing point. The number 1 kill list is still possible. But Suzy directly reached 1.5 billion points. 85 million points beyond him is too much. It is impossible to exceed. Unless he is gone. Otherwise, it is impossible to get the heart of the world that father wants. Lin Feng felt a little anxious, although he is very popular because of the template of the arms. But if once dissatisfied, his future must be bleak. I don't know when the Zerg will attack and whether they can kill Suzy. Lin Feng could only pray frantically in his heart. The southeast corner of the endless continent. Big rock desert. A beam of Tongtian golden light suddenly descended from the void. 0. When the beam of light dissipates, an incomparably huge continent merged into 10 bodies with the big stone lotus. We're back. Look up and feel the warm sunshine in the sky. The corner of Xiao Wanqing's mouth could not help but smile. 3 days on the battlefields of the world. 72 hours. All they saw was dim, lonely gravel. No wind, no temperature, no sun. Very depressing. What's more, you have to go through a big battle from time to time, and your spirit will look very tired. Thanks for your hard work. Suzy saw the tired look in her eyes. Take her little hand and connect it to the army. Xiao Wanqing's troops played a very important role in the battlefield this time. There were many alien races who wanted to escape. But he was stopped by the Sun Elves and shot dead. Each of their arrows is powerful and terrifying. Make the enemy terrified. Xiao Wanqing closed her eyes and shook her head slightly. As long as you are with the sun, it will not be hard. Xiao Wanqing smiled, feeling the sound of Suzy's heartbeat coming from my ears. I am very satisfied with such a day in my heart. nestled in his arms, lying on his firm chest. It always gives her a great sense of security. 1.6 made her unable to help but want to rely on it. Suzy chuckled, lowered her head and rubbed her silky blue hair. Xiao Wanqing, who used to be as cold as mountains and rivers, is now like a little cat. But when Suzy looked around, it suddenly became icy cold. Hey, there are always bugs looking for death. Suzy sighed helplessly. Xiao Wanqing heard this, raised her head in doubt, and looked at Suzy from bottom to top. Wait for me a minute. I'm going to fix a little problem. Suzy lowered his head and chuckled, loosening Xiao Wanqing's slender waist. Eyes suddenly burst into dazzling golden light. Suddenly, in the space outside the territory, black silk threads emerged. These threads seemed to connect the void. Lock everything down firmly. Report. 38%. 154th. The gods who are at war with each other. Endless void. The world with a radius of tens of thousands of miles seems to be isolated. These black silk threads are like the incarnation of rules, and there are chains of order gods spreading on them, blocking everything. Suzy, I wonder if you can still move and move. Suddenly, there was a sharp voice in the sky. Suzy looked at the sky. I don't know when. A red-faced human creature with 4 eyes appeared in the sky, looking down at the natural realm below. Around him, 9 artifacts that make the void tremble, exuding a terrifying aura. Claire stared at the human lord below. Mouth chuckle. She felt she was already halfway there. Once Suzy's territory is blocked so that it cannot be virtualized, then Suzy will be doomed. Possesses 9 artifacts. She is invincible in this little heaven. Is this endless land? She is even strong enough to break it. But then she might be sucked dry too. In the southeast corner of the 20 continent, there is huge movement. Immediately attracted the attention of the gods. Zerg, you have passed. On Mo Shang's body, a huge aura swept through the void. Because of the huge resources given by the Zerg. They promised the Zerg they could carry 2 artifacts. But they smuggled 1 in. Now they actually use 10 artifacts to target the Tianzhao of the human race. Irina, you Zerg don't even have any credit. Wu Qingying's eyes were cold, and a blood-stained spear appeared in his hand, pointing directly at the Zerg area. This is a high-level artifact evolved from legendary equipment. Behind him, a purple 9-story pagoda appeared in Feng Judian's right hand, and the powerful aura emanating from it was no less than that of Blood Spear. Li Muzzy's green clothes fluttered, her face was expressionless, and she couldn't see happiness or anger, but she offered a simple bronze medal. There is a seal character, Li, engraved on it. Although only 1 word. But the fluctuations above made Shang Shendu terrified. What's that, Li? Could it be that Li? What a terrible breath, God Emperor. At least they are all God Emperor level breaths. What are they going to do? Do they want to blow up this star field? Damn Zerg, don't keep your promise, don't fight. They won't really fight, right? If so many high gods and god kings fight, not to mention the small heavens, even this star field will be crushed. Calm down, calm down. Don't be impulsive. Several races around were terrified. Fled without hesitation, for fear of being involved in the battlefield of Zerg and Terran. For a while, the breath of the entire void suddenly became dignified. There seems to be a little spark. It will completely detonate the explosive magazine. The expressions of the Zerg gods were equally dignified. They know that the human race's reaction will be great. But there is only one god king and dozens of high gods who come here from the human race. They are not afraid, but only the token of the Li family in the hand of the woman in Xingyi. It was beyond their expectations. They seem to think of the iron-blooded family in the east of the human race. The situation is beyond their control. Li family, why are people from the Li family participating here? Cold sweat had begun to break out from the head of the Zerg at the forefront. They remembered that one person who provoked the Great War. At last only one family. The Li family of a higher race was abruptly destroyed. Killing the heavens with fear. In the end, a supreme came out. If it is really that Li family, they Zerg could be in big trouble. All are ants, once involved in the highest. They will be crushed to death like crushing an ant. Li Zimu was really angry this time. The Zerg bullied her nephew again and again. She really thought her Li family was made of mud. Wu Qingying and Feng Judian looked sideways. I didn't expect her background to be so big. Not exposed for thousands of years. But why did it suddenly appear today? Wu Qingying was a little moved. This sister is so kind to her nephew. This token, obviously, her family saved her life. But now she actually for Suzy. Don't hesitate to fight the Zerg. This feeling owes too much. I think you don't have to argue. Suzy is fine. Suddenly, 103. Zhao Changsheng, the lord of the Azure Dragon Lord, suddenly spoke. Wen Yan, the gods have a meal. Chi Chi looked at Xiao Zudian, his eyes widened. But at this moment, natural color outside, Suzy doesn't know when, already appeared in front of Claire. At this time, Claire, kneeling in front of Suzy with both knees, holding 10 artifacts in both hands, handing them over to Suzy. Owner, Claire's clear and loud voice seems to pass through the world, across endless space, to the ears of the gods. Let the original daggers be drawn. The human race and the Zerg race that may break out at any time. Turn off the flame instantly. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. 3 big doubts appeared on Wu Qingying's head. How did you do it? Not only Wu Qingying doubts. Even a group of god kings and high gods were also puzzled. As if for a moment, Claire has completely changed. There are many happy events these days, and the update is unstable, but not less. Report, 39%. Chapter 155. Curious Gods, Wu Qingying Girlfriends Group. What's going on here? Zerg Seed Claire, why did he suddenly surrender to Suzy? What did he do? The upper gods of some races are puzzled. I don't understand. The imaginary artifact blockade did not imprison him at all. He appeared in front of Claire in an instant, and then Claire lifted the space blockade, and that's it. There is an explanation of the upper god who is watching the whole process. Wen Yan, many high gods pondered, wondering why Suzy could do this. It is rumored that the alien lords of the human race have a talent. Could it be his talent? No, his talent is imaginary, even the upper gods can't hurt him at all. Irina shook her head. She has seen Suzy's talent, and even a Zerg high god died because of it. Is it the ability of its arms? Everyone here is either a high god or a god king. They are all old monsters who have lived for an unknown age, and they are all well informed. Quickly came to the point. Sister Yinger, do you know? Li Muzzy was also very curious, and Mei blinked at Wu Qingying. She was shocked again by her nephew. Are plants really that amazing? Feng Judian also looked at Wu Qingying. Even she is very curious about this kind of strange ability. I feel that this little monster collected by Wu Qingying. Very magical. There are always surprises. The other high gods and god kings also silently pricked up their ears when they heard the words. In their view, as her master, Wu Qingying would definitely know something. Ahem, I don't know. Wu Qingying shook her head in embarrassment. After all, it hasn't been long since she accepted Suzy. I haven't had time to exchange feelings. The Xiaoju Tianjiao competition has already begun. How would she know how many magical abilities Suzy's plants have? The last time I visited its territory, he didn't let in. No, next time you have a chance, you must take a look to see what secrets Suzy is hiding. Wen Yan, everyone was a little disappointed. Sister Yinger, you can tell us secretly. At this time, Li Muzzy suddenly sent a voice transmission to Wu Qingying. That's right, we can be girlfriends, tell us we're all right. Feng Judian nodded slightly, and said in the same voice transmission. But, we don't know. Wu Qingying shrugged, spread her hands and said helplessly. If I know, I will definitely tell you. But he and I just became masters and apprentices. Last time he was anxious to go back to reunite with his teacher, and I didn't have time to ask. That's it. Next time we meet him, we will torture him personally. Feng Judian smiled sweetly, her beautiful eyes flickered, and she preached very domineeringly. He's still young, you can't bully him. Wu Qingying hastily stopped. These sisters, it's fine to play with flowers by themselves. You can't teach her good apprentice badly. What? Distressed. Seeing Wu Qingying's nervous expression, Feng Judian teased immediately. With beautiful uncles like us around, how can you lose money as a disciple? If you lose money, it's us who suffer. Feng Judian smiled while holding the blue hair on his forehead. She has thought about it. How do you want to tease her nephew? No, you can't play too much. Li Zimu, who had no objection, suddenly blushed and said. They can play whatever they want between the sisters. But Suzy is Wu Qingying's apprentice, their little nephew. Even his own nephew. If you go too far, wouldn't that mess up the relationship? It's too rebellious. It's done, I'll take the part. Feng Judian waved his hand. She was wondering whether to call a few more sisters. They are very curious about Wu Qingying's apprentice. Wanting to see what kind of magical power he has, Wu Qingying actually fell in love with him. Now his ability is so amazing. After passing out, I'm afraid that many sisters have to think carefully. After all, many of them are already married. Meet Suzy, who has great potential and is also handsome. How could it be possible to bear it? At the same time, in front of a territory thousands of miles away from natural territory. A fat man was holding a live broadcast device in his hand, and was broadcasting everything that happened in natural color. Originally, when the Zerg burst out 10 artifacts. The bullet screen is like this. 10 artifacts, the Zerg are so shameless. How could they bring them in? Susie is finished. 10 artifacts, able to pierce the endless continent. Please, even if the gods come, be careful. Damn the Zerg, you shamelessly bring an artifact to attack my human race Tianzhou. Next time you encounter a Zerg, you will kill him. 1 inch. Great, if this terrifying human race is dead, don't we have a chance to reach the top? I hope the Zerg will act quickly. He will kill my titans by himself. My titans are incompatible with them. On the virtual screen, countless barrages danced wildly. No one saw Susie almost. After all, it is an artifact. In addition, the Zerg blocked his talent with artifacts. How to see? Susie has no hope of winning. Even Fatty Wong, who was holding the live broadcast equipment, also looked worried. Report. 39%. Chapter 116. The richest demigod, the envy of all gods. Not God. No one can block the power of the artifact. Not to mention 10 artifacts. Although the Zerg Claire can only use part of the power of the artifact. But it is still invincible. So Fatty Wong is very worried about Susie. He came here to join Susie. He is optimistic about the future of Susie. I want to build a relationship with Susie and invest in the future before he becomes a god. This is the way of their royal family's survival. But if Susie is killed, then his hopes were dashed. Boss Susie, you must hold on. Don't rely on the boss for my future, Fatty Wong. Fatty Wong lowered his head, crossed his eyes, and prayed frantically in his heart. I just knelt down and worshipped the gods and gods to pray for them to bless Susie. However, at this moment, he suddenly discovered. The barrage has changed. Wow, shit, what's going on? Did the Zerg kill it? Am I dazzled? That's a Zerg seed level genius. Why is he kneeling in front of Susie now? The artifact has no effect on Susie. How did he do it? 377 inches. It's so weird. In Claire's eyes, it's all about Susie's fanaticism. This ability is too scary. I hope I don't become like this one day. In the future, I will run away when I see the human race Susie. This ability is too scary. When seeing these bullet screens, Fatty Wong was still a little confused. But when he raised his head and saw Claire kneeling in front of Susie and handing over 10 artifacts to Susie, immediately, his glasses widened, and his chin almost fell to the ground. Boss Susie is amazing. Sure enough, I saw the right person. Fatty Wong stood up excitedly and shouted frantically. And those races who have hatred against Susie and want Susie to be killed were silent. A fear of Susie suddenly rose in my heart. Even Claire, who was carrying 10 artifacts, was easily dealt with by him. Who else would dare to face Susie? It's over. In the White Tiger League, tens of thousands of members of the White Tiger League saw this scene. Heads shrank one after another. It seems that their Baihumong have formed an enmity with Susie. If Susie troubles them, will they become like Claire? Hand in all your treasures. Thinking of this result, they shuddered. No one wants to be someone else's puppet. And becoming such a life without the slightest emotion, it is better to die. Someone's heart is shaking. They didn't want to accompany Bai Humong to die. Lin Feng sits on the palace throne. Looking at the commotion of the people below, they clench their fists. But he watched Susie in the live broadcast. But I couldn't help but fear in my heart. This ability is too scary. Is that his hero power? Feng Zixuan was silent, then shook her head. Take a look. The ability to turn the enemy into one's own subordinate is too terrifying. There are bound to be limits. She still has a chance. Thinking of this, hope ignited in Feng Zixuan's heart again. No matter how strong your ability is, we will have a battle in the main city Colosseum. Susie stood in the void. He lowered his eyebrows and looked at the Zerg Queen Claire kneeling in front of him, feeling indifferent. After all, for him, there is nothing difficult about it. Just a low-level artifact. I also want to block the virtualization of the world tree. I don't know what they think. Do you really think you can deal with it so well? Susie shook his head, took out the accessory contract, and handed it to Claire. Sign it. Obey, my master. Saad Duke Klein respectfully reached out to take it, and signed his name on the subsidiary contract without hesitation. Next moment, Susie felt that he had a certain connection with Claire. Void. Seeing this scene, Wu Qingying and the three women chuckled lightly. I am more and more satisfied with Susie. Mo Shang also nodded, his eyes full of admiration. Susie won face for the Terran this time. Now the Zerg not only lost the threat, but also lost themselves. Although the Zerg did not obey the rules this time, But their race made a lot of money. Get 10 artifacts for nothing. In contrast to Zerg, it is very gloomy. This time they not only lost the 2 high god seeds. The most important thing is the loss of 10 artifacts. This is the biggest loss for them. But fortunately, there is still the last only seedling. Knowing that Susie is no longer able to compete, he will not die. Irina patted her chest and sighed. The faces of the other Zerg high gods and god kings looked a little better. Get up. Withdraw subsidiary contract. Susie said lightly to Claire. Now she has become her own. Obey, master. Claire's eyes were full of fanaticism, and she stood up quickly. Is there another one of your Zerg? At this time, Susie asked suddenly. That's right, besides Balingzi and me, there is also a Zerg seed Aina, who still has 8 artifacts in her hands, but she didn't come with me today. Claire said slowly. At the same time, Aina's trump card was blown out without hesitation. As soon as this remark came out, void, the human camps were frightened one after another. 18 artifacts, are you planning to blow yourself up and destroy all the arrogances of all races if you can't afford them? Wu Qingying's tone is cold. I was already thinking about killing a few Zerg upper gods for fun. But it's a pity, now it's cheaper, my nephew, Suzy. Feng Judian pursed her lips and smiled, even she was a little envious of Suzy. 18 artifacts, even the middle god family does not have so many stocks. Now Suzy's worth alone is enough to compare with a 10,000-year-old family. Before they became gods, who can hold an artifact in his hand? Is enough to make people envious. But Suzy will undoubtedly be the most powerful demigod. Master, do you need me to lure her here? Keller asked. These words made the corners of Irina's mouth twitch in the void. They lost their wife and lost their soldiers. No, she's here. Suzy shook his head. At the same time, he suddenly raised his hand and grabbed a void. Report, 39%. Chapter 117. The 3 worms are exterminated, and there are successors. Impossible, how could he find me? The Zerg Aina, who used the artifact to cover her figure and escaped into the deep space, shook her head. However, when the huge palm suddenly formed in the sky, shatter the void, while grabbing her, Aina realized it was too late. She has been discovered. Void, the faces of the gods of the Zerg, pitch black cliffs. Especially Irina, I feel my face is a little hot. This time the Zerg lost a lot. Puff. Feng Judian couldn't help chuckling, then looked around and covered her cherry lips. Li Muzzy and Wu Qingying also had smiles on their faces. Now the 3 seeds of Zerg. It was taken by Suzy. Fatty Wang's live broadcast room. Wouldn't it be true that all the Zerg artifacts now belong to Suzy? 18 artifacts. It would be great if they belonged to me. I'm going to join the boss Suzy now, is there still time? It's already strong, but now it has 18 artifacts sent by Zerg idiots, how can it be fought? I heard that there are 3 seed level talents who came here from the Zerg this time, and now only 2 have been caught by Suzy. I hope the last one will not be given away like this again. Well, is there a possibility that the remaining Lark has been taken down by Suzy long ago? Suddenly someone spoke in the barrage. You guessed it right, I was assigned to the same world battlefield as the human race Suzy, and I participated in the battle of the last 10 legendary treasure chests and survived. The remaining Zerg Lark was already a member of Suzy in the world battlefield. And she also gave 3 artifacts to human Suzy. Suddenly there is a foreigner broke the news. FK, doesn't that mean that he already has 21 artifacts now? I'm still using blue quality weapons, and Suzy has already started wholesale artifacts. 10 legendary treasure chests. There are 10 legendary treasure chests in your world battlefield. Ah, why wasn't I assigned to that world battlefield? Time legendary treasure chest. Hey, don't just think about the treasure chest, think about how many Suzy killed. 35 million Tianzhou participated in the final battle, and they fought for more than 10 hours. At the end, the number of people was less than 5 million. If you go, you will only die. In addition, the aliens who came out of the world battlefield sneered. Wen Yan, the barrage could not help but pause. 35 million participants, the last remaining 5 million. 10 hours, a total of 30 million Tianzhou were killed in battle. They just listen. One can imagine the mountain of corpses and sea of blood. Then who got the treasure chest in the end? Suddenly someone asked. You don't need to ask, why do you think that guy has so many killing points? There are aliens who are not angry. Talking. The voice is still trembling. If you do it all over again, he doesn't necessarily have the confidence to survive that battlefield. Gudong, how many did he kill? In the last battle, several heroes and subordinates guarded in front of the legendary treasure chest. For more than 10 hours, none of them could break through their defense line. It is said that under the treasure chest, corpses pile up into mountains. Blood flows into lakes. No one knows the exact number, but he alone killed at least 15 million, or even more than 20 million. You know, there is a meat grinder there, and I feel lucky that I can get out of there alive. A foreign arrogance recalled and said with emotion. The bottom is all blank. Only then did they understand. It turns out that this is how Suzy got so many killing points. 35 million Tianzhou compete for the top 10 legendary treasure chests. And its heroes and subordinates guard for more than 10 hours. In the end, a single person killed thousands of Tianzhou. Where is the arrogance here? It's a monster, it's almost the same. This moment, I don't know how many aliens can't help but tremble. Originally greedy for 10 legendary treasure chests and artifacts. Disappear completely. Zero looking for flowers. Although treasures are good, but take your life. Another embryo killer. The movement in the live broadcast room naturally cannot escape the eyes of the gods. Feng Judian couldn't help but glanced at Wu Qingying. It felt like the two were carved out of the same mold. Back then Wu Qingying was also killed to madness. If she hadn't stopped her. But all the Tianzhou who participated in the Tianzhou competition may be killed by her. Now, she took an apprentice. It was even more so that he slaughtered tens of millions of aliens in the first battle. Sure enough, it's not a family. If you don't enter a family, Qingying, you are really destined. Feng Judian couldn't help lowering his eyebrows and said with emotion. 0. I was defeated back then. So she raised her niece Feng Zixuan, thinking she could win a game. The result is still lost. Can only say, both of them are too evil. Compared with them, Tianzhou is just like ordinary people. Wu Qingying smiled lightly, her eyes bursting with a strong golden light. From the first time I met Suzy, she thinks that Suzy is very pleasing to the eye. Now it seems, they are all of the same kind. It's all about killing embryos. Sister Yinger is considered a successor, but Sister Yinger, you might be in a little trouble. Li Zimu next to him suddenly said with a strange expression. What trouble? Wu Qingying didn't care at all. Who would dare to trouble her? Feng Judian was also puzzled, and looked at Li Muzzy. Li Muzzy, do you still remember your suitor? Wu Qingying waved her hand. Too many, even I can't beat it, what a fart. After all, people are too beautiful, talented, and powerful. No context yet. It is easy to be missed by the children of those big families. But all those who dared to chase her back then, they were all punched back by her. In the past few thousand years, apart from being disgusted by Lord White Tiger, no one dared to chase her. Mainly because I can't afford to lose people. Now Wu Qingying is undoubtedly at the forefront of everyone in that era. Report. 39%. Chapter 118. Promise, Aina. But Sister Yinger, you made a promise back then. Li Zimu suppressed a smile and said. Feng Judian also thought of it, and immediately stared at Wu Ying with her beautiful eyes. It looks like there is a good show to watch. What agreement? Wu Qingying was puzzled. You said at the beginning that if you can't beat me, it's because I'm too strong. But you later, whoever's younger generation can defeat my apprentice, I will marry whoever. Li Zimu suppressed a smile and said. Did I say so? Wu Qingying is confused. It was originally a joke, but someone took it seriously. And the other party is not young. Li Zimu sent the news he just received to Wu Qingying. Zhao Zi, 793, Kun, Long Wenkang, Xiaozan, Wang Feng. Wu Qingying swiped the list. There were more than 100 of them, and their faces turned black. Aren't they full? Wu Qingying couldn't help cursing angrily. Among these people, some of their great-grandsons are hundreds of years old, so they still have the guts to come. Wu Qingying looked at it again, clenched the scarlet spear tightly in her hand, and anger arose in her chest. Did they float away, or did Wu Qingying not hold the gun anymore? Back then I was able to beat them down, and now I can still beat them all over the floor. Don't be angry, I think their real purpose is probably to regain the face of the past. Feng Judian comforted the angry Wu Qingying, and calmly analyzed. Back then Wu Qingying suppressed them too hard. Now I have the opportunity to use this excuse. I wanted to get back to where I was back then. That's right, because of the turmoil in the human race, some monsters have been born in various parts of the human race today. Many of them have templates for awakened legendary units. This is their confidence. Li Muzzy thought for a while and said. Cut, you can't beat me, and it's even more impossible to beat my apprentice. Wu Qingying turned the spear in her hand disdainfully, and with a flash of light, she took it back. You still have to be careful. They are full of confidence, and they can't say what cards they have prepared. Feng Judian reminded softly. Wu Qingying nods her head. When the apprentice comes out, tell him about it. Let him blow up all the descendants of those people. I couldn't beat me back then. You can't beat my apprentice now. Natural collar over the sky. Your name is Aina. Wearing a veil, do you think that you cannot be purified? Susie grabbed the opponent's fair neck with a light hand. But the other party actually covered his face with a white silk veil. Cover its face. No, I am willing to sign a subcontract, Biwajan. Hearing that Susie wants to turn her into a puppet like Claire. Being caught by Susie, his body trembled slightly. The veil shakes. From it came a melodious voice like a warbler's cry, with a trill in the voice, which seemed a little delicate. But Susie wouldn't believe it. How could a 9th level powerhouse be weak? Master, I have something to tell Master. At this time, Claire said suddenly. Susie turned his head and looked over. Claire then sent a voice transmission. Master, we Zerg are actually divided into 2 branches. One of them follows the mother-in-law style, relying on the type of troops, rushing into the army to crush the enemy. The other one is taking the single body route. Just like your hero, the Zerg in this route are all very clean and pure. Oh, this is the first time Susie heard of it. Zerg also has this kind of differentiation. It's just that there are too few Zergs who take the single body route, so they are not known to the outside world. Claire explained. Susie nodded, not knowing what she was talking about. Master, Aina is the one who takes the single route, the only saint. It was cultivated by that vein since childhood. Because she is too delicate and beautiful, I originally planned to give her to a great figure of the human race, 0.0 inches. But now that the master has captured it, it will naturally belong to the master. However, the subordinates feel that only by preserving her mind can she maintain her temperament. In this way, the master can enjoy himself more. Claire explained bit by bit. Purification plus subsidiary contract is just that scary. Knowing that they are purified. But my heart can't afford a little bit of resistance. Instead, they will take the initiative to think about each other. Susie frowned and didn't answer, but reached out and tore off the veil of the Zerg Aina. Light veil, revealing the concealed appearance of the world. The moment the appearance is revealed, it seems that the world has lost its color. 2 curved eyebrows that seem to be frowning but not frowning, and a pair of eyes that seem to be happy but not happy. The state gives birth to 2 dimples of worry, and the disease of delicacy attacks the whole body. Tears dripped, panting slightly. Just glanced at it. It's hard to move your eyes away. Susie was slightly stunned, but soon recovered. See this. Aina couldn't help but look at Susie twice more. After all, she has seen the ugly faces of those human races more than once. A 0.3 in every eye carries a disgusting desire. But in Susie's eyes, she only saw amazement, not the greed of vomiting. Sign it. Susie's tone was calm, but not as cold as before. Aina's appearance is indeed peerless and rare, enough to be compared with goblins. But if the goblin represents the ultimate charm, people can't help being seduced by it just by looking at it. Then Aina represents softness, soft to the bone of a man. People can't help worrying if a gust of wind blows. It will fall. Subconsciously, it will make people worry about it. But Susie can perceive. She's not pretending, and it seems to be so. Report 1. 40%. Chapter 119. Jealousy from men in the heavens, baby. Okay. Aina's voice is as beautiful as Wanwan spring water, refreshing. Susie let go of his neck. No fear of her running away. Aina uses the slender onion finger as the pen and energy as the ink. Leave your name on the subsidiary contract. When he retracted his slender jade fingers, Susie has already noticed that he has established a relationship with Aina. Since then, her life and death, it is controlled by oneself. At this time, Susie took a closer look at Aina. It feels that besides the blue eyes, it is no different from the human race. Aina's cheeks were rosy when Susie looked at her, and she lowered her head shyly. Master, Aina was taught by that Zerg race since she was a child how to serve the men of the human race, and she knows a lot. Moreover, its body has evolved to almost perfectly conform to the aesthetics of the human race, and its internal structure is even more unique. These need to be independently developed by the owner. At this moment, Claire prompts Susie 20 via sound transmission. Ahem. Susie coughed twice. There is no shortage of beauties in his territory, so there is no such thing as a monkey hall. Or wait until later. Susie, they talk here. But Fatty Wang's live broadcast room exploded. Okay, so beautiful. Zerg has such a beautiful girl. I want to talk about a love that crosses races. I looked at her, as if my heart had been taken away by her. Susie, I want to fight you to the death, don't give me eye. How could there be such a beautiful woman in the world, 10,000 times more beautiful than the most beautiful woman I have ever seen? No, she's mine, Suzy, you can't take her away. Woo, Suzy, don't touch my goddess, Ju Yi. I'll give you whatever you want. In the barrage in the live broadcast room, there was a burst of painful wailing from men. Ina beauty. It is possible to cross races. Not only the human race thinks it is as beautiful as a fairy. That is, the demons, angels, and elves are all Jingru Oceanran. The moment I saw Ina's face, they felt that their souls had been hooked away by it. Her every frown and smile made them intoxicated. Make it a goddess. But when they saw Suzy pulling their goddess, when the slender and boneless hands, anger and sadness suddenly came to my heart. Some even go beyond reason. Want to fight with Suzy. Seeing this scene, Fatty Wong can only say one thing. Such a confidant is rare in the world. Only a boss like Suzy is worthy of it. Fatty Wong shook his head. Dispel thoughts from your mind. It can only be said that Aina is so beautiful that any man would be jealous of her. A seaside. Suzy, why do you take all the benefits? He Wushwang looked at the mermaid in his arms, and then at Aina who was holding her hand. Immediately, I felt that the mermaid was a bit tasteless. In a canyon of the endless continent, Feng Zixuan looked at the crazy man in the live barrage. Bah, isn't it just to look better? As for a Feng Zixuan who is proud of her appearance. After looking at Aina in the live broadcast, I took out a mirror. He looked at his flawless oval face. I can't feel how inferior I am to her. Men are animals that think from the lower body. Suzy, hope you don't let me down. Anna shook her head. She felt that Suzy would be obsessed with women from then on, unable to extricate herself. In this time when you chase me and become a god. Every cent counts. Once surpassed, it will be difficult to catch up. It won't take long. He may be overtaken by a large number of people. Qing Ying, Suzy is blessed. He even met a Zerg saint who is rare in thousands of years. Feng Judian smiled and said, Zerg is divided into two branches. This is no secret in the eyes of these people. A Zerg female emperor line, and a single combat power system. Among them, the single combat power system is also responsible for the management of the Zerg. In order to win over all races, even resorted to all means to infiltrate the outside races. Naturally, it also includes some shady activities. And this Ina, it belongs to special training since childhood. Evolved specifically to please human men. And become a saint. She is also a peerless beauty that is rarely seen in thousands of years. Such a beauty, I don't know which god king, or even god emperor, to make friends with. It can only be said that Suzy's beauty is not shallow. Hey, what's so good about it? Those who are not of my race will have a different heart. Wu Qingying was not used to it, and felt a little unhappy. She doesn't understand love, and she doesn't want to waste time on it. But his apprentice took a Zerg into the territory. Everyone knows what's going to happen. What a sour taste. Who's jealous? When Feng Judian heard this, he slapped Chong's nose like a fan, and laughed. Who is jealous? Am I wrong? Wu Qingying's heart tightened, and she subconsciously said. This is called winning glory for my human race, right? Feng Judian pursed his lips and smiled. Why, Wu Qingying, the #1 beauty in the human race, was also nervous at times. How is it possible? I'm afraid of a little girl. What a joke. When that kid Suzy comes out, you ask him, who is better between me and that Zerg Aina? Wu Qingying raised her snow-white neck and said proudly. In terms of appearance, she Wu Qingying is not weaker than others in her life. Seeing this, the other two girls couldn't help laughing lightly, their voices were like a warbler's cry. Li Zimu looked at Suzy who was pulling Aina, and smiled slightly. It is still possible to be an accessory. But it was impossible to be his wife. Speaking of which, back then, my sister even made a baby marriage for the unborn Suzy. I don't know how the girl is doing now. Report, 40%. Chapter 160. Embracing left and right, Xiao Wanqing attacks at night. Although Suzy felt that someone was watching here. But don't care. Enter the territory. Everything is invisible to them. Master, is this the new sister? Just when Suzy brought Aina back to the territory. The little fairy who just took a bath walked over slowly, walking lightly, as graceful as a willow in the spring of March. The little goblin just took a bath. Her skin is so tender that water is about to drip. The wet red hair moved with the wind, emitting a woman's unique fragrance. A red cheongsam, show off its slim and exquisite figure perfectly. Every frown and smile, every movement, they seemed to have endless charm. She walked slowly to Suzy's right side, and put her arms around Suzy's shoulder. Suzy suddenly felt a pleasant body fragrance, which rushed into his ears and nose. Well, she is from our territory from now on. Suzy nodded, and put his arms around the little fairy's waist. The other side, Aina looked slightly stunned and surprised. It was the first time she saw. There is actually someone who can compare with him in terms of appearance. Suddenly in my heart, understand why Susie has no crush on her. Let's go. Susie didn't say anything, and took the two daughters back to the territory king. In the sight of the gods and others, the three disappeared, but Fatty Wang's live broadcast room once again erupted into a commotion. Damn it, him, why does he still have one? Embracing left and right, they are still as beautiful as a fairy. Susie, you and I are at odds with each other. Such a beauty, to have one is already a joy in this life, but why does Su Sheng have two? Susie, I want to fight to the death with you in the main city. Do you dare to fight? Damn it, he is indeed my big brother, wow. Fatty Wang looked at Susie who was gradually disappearing. There is only one big obedience word in my heart. I can't tell, little A's is very lucky. Hug left and right, tisk tisk. Looking at Susie's disappearing figure, Feng Judian couldn't help smacking his mouth. Even she had to admire. A girl who can stand shoulder to shoulder with Wu Qingying. It is already rare in the world to have one. But Susie conquered both at once. I can only feel good luck for Susie. Of course, this is also the result of its great strength. Not everyone can be like Susie. Surrounded by several artifacts. Freedom of movement. Not everyone can easily beat a Zerg seed level genius. Easily suppressed. No, when he comes out, I have to talk to him. Now shouldn't be the time to be obsessed with women. Wu Qingying secretly said in her heart. Natural caller. Susie let go of Aina's hand, and said to Claire. You take her to get familiar with the territory, and then you will do your best to produce insect soldiers just like Bai Lingxi. Yes, master, but my insect nest and tens of thousands of insect soldiers are still in the insect world, and I need to bring them back to produce insect soldiers. Claire said respectfully. Well, I'll accompany you to pick it up tomorrow. Susie said softly. Bring back his insect soldiers, and his power of faith will be doubled again. As future cohesion is the basis of godhood, Susie will naturally take care of it. Then Susie left with the goblin and Xiao Wanqing. Go to Fanlu to enjoy delicious food. Watching the back of Susie leaving, Claire held Aina's hand and said, Aina, you have to seize the opportunity. There are not many girls around the master now. But with the master's potential and strength, he is destined to achieve some hegemony in the future. As we are, your only advantage right now is this face. Aina lowered her eyebrows, bowed her head and remained silent. Her destiny has been decided since she was born. But come here, her fate seems to have changed a little. Although attached, but Susie doesn't seem to be that kind of villain. And Susie didn't force her to do anything. It made her feel grateful. Night, after having a sumptuous dinner in Fanlu, Susie took a little fairy to bathe in watching pool. Wash away the blood and bad luck of 3 days. Shall we go to bed? In watching pool, Susie whispered in the little fairy's ear. The goblin shook her head lightly and smiled mysteriously at Susie. Sorry master, I'm a little tired tonight, so I won't be with you. Okay, you have a good rest. Seeing this, Susie didn't force it. Farewell to the little fairy, Li Deshao. Susie walked slowly back to his bedroom. Undressed to sleep. Midnight, a fiery body penetrated into Susie's bed. Feel the strange delicate body. Susie opened his eyes instantly, no sleepiness at all. By the bright moonlight outside the window, Susie saw someone coming. Wanner, my son. Xiao Wanqing buried her head on Susie's chest, not daring to look up at Susie. Please, son, take pity on you. Xiao Wanqing's voice trembled slightly. Obviously, this is very embarrassing for her. Susie chuckled and waved his hand. The doors and windows are closed. Soon, the loud and clear nightingale's cry came from the room. Report, 40%. Chapter 161. Obviously I came first, Lord's Strategy Manual. The moon is round and the stars are sparse. Nightingale sings. The lingering sound surrounds the beam, sonorous and powerful. In front of the master bedroom of the Lord's mansion, a petite figure approached the master bedroom softly, and just about to reach out. Hear its voice, suddenly stopped. The flushed pretty face drooped, a little disappointed. His white teeth, like suet white jade, bit his lips lightly. Hearing the muffled sound from inside the house. I'm late. Chi-Chi thought that she had finished practicing magic and successfully entered the 4th level. When returning to the house and passing by the door of Elder Sister Fairy, seeing a beautiful figure in the room, I want to redeem the regrets of the past few days in my heart. In a nervous mood, only then did she slowly come to the Lord's bedroom. But didn't think. It seems that she came a step too late. Is it Miss Wanner? Chi-Chi's small ears pricked up, trying to tell who the other person was. But then she shook her head slightly. Sister Warner is very aloof and doesn't like to talk on weekdays. How did you come to Lord's room? Not so loud. 207 Is that Sister Chu or Sister Mengmong? Chi-Chi shook her head again. They are still outside and have not returned to the territory. It is said that the Lord today brought back a woman who is comparable to a goblin sister. Could it be her? Chi-Chi thought about it. Maybe so. It was preempted by outsiders. Chi-Chi lowered her head a little bit disappointed. Obviously I came first. Next day, Golden Crow Dongsheng. Suzy opened his eyes. Catches the eye. It was a charming girl with a few faint tears in the corners of her eyes. Xiao Wanqing and Lu Yu frowned slightly, looking a little tired. The corners of Suzy's mouth curled up slightly. After smoothing the few strands of blue hair scattered on his forehead, he lightly landed on the bed. Suit up. Go out of the room and close the door for her. After he leaves, Xiao Wanqing slowly opened her eyes. A blush appeared on her pretty face. Smile for the first time. Like a CD, blooming snow lotus in ice. Sun. The only one in this world. 2 jade hands propped up the body. Xiao Wanqing got dressed, cut off the bed sheet dyed with a touch of irregular plum blossoms, put it in the inventory and keep it carefully. Chi-Chi. Close the door. When Suzy turned around, he was unexpectedly not far from the door. He saw Chi-Chi who was snuggling up next to the pillar. This little girl, did she stay here all night? Suzy stepped forward quickly. Squatting down, carefully picked up the weak and boneless Chi-Chi, and put her lightly on the couch in the first bedroom. Cover it with a silk quilt. Only then did Suzy leave slowly. My lord, Chi-Chi murmured softly in her sleep. Then he hugged the quilt unconsciously and clamped his legs tightly. Walking out of the Lord's mansion, Suzy breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately feel refreshed, still full of energy. Looking forward, Mingyu Lake sparkling, the little fairy sat alone in the lake, holding her snow-white chin with one hand, and staring into the distance. Suzy smiled lightly, stepped forward, he stretched out his hand and hugged the little fairy into his arms. Ah! The little goblin exclaimed suddenly. The pretty phoenix eyes turned white to Suzy angrily. Immediately looked charming. Master, is little sister Warner all right? The little goblin sat sideways on Suzy's lap, parted her cherry lips, and said with a light smile. Still asleep, Suzy said frankly. Master, you can't favor one person over another. The little goblin pursed her lips and smiled, with a hint of jealousy in her eyes. She knows how powerful the master is. How could it be? I have always been a bowl of water. Suzy hastily denied. Really? The goblin started to straddle Suzy's lap, sat face to face with Suzy, clasped her hands around Suzy's neck. A pair of red eyes, winking like silk. Master, I want to give it a try. Suzy didn't speak, but responded with practical actions. Hugging the little fairy's waist violently. Hug it like a princess. One dodged back to the city lord's mansion. 3 poles in the sun. Outside the city lord's mansion. Suzy took a heavy breath, his complexion pale. The recovery skills of the goblins are too bad. Suzy shook his head. He is still not strong enough. My lord. At this time, wearing a blue and white sailor suit, Chi-Chi slowly ran over from a distance. Standing in front of Suzy. The 2 giant twin peaks on the chest are like disobedient children who always like to jump up and down. Ahem. Suzy couldn't help but look at Chi-Chi twice more. But just after the war. Now is the sage moment, and I don't have too many desires. My lord, shall we open the treasure chest? Chi-Chi saw Suzy's dodging eyes, and the corners of her mouth curled slightly. She knew. The owner loves uniforms, although she failed twice. But she didn't give up. Instead, the Lord Master Raider's plan was specially formulated. And this sailor suit, it is one of the best uniforms caught from the pond. A uniform like this, she still has a dozen sets. Come 1 set every day. I don't believe the Lord is not moved. After Chi-Chi's strength increases, I feel like my mind is getting better. Go open the treasure chest. Suzy naturally didn't know Chi-Chi's plan. It's just that Chi-Chi seems a little special today. Report, 40%. Chapter 162. Opening the treasure chest, 3 strange buildings. Thousands of treasure chests, 10 legends. No doubt, this will be the richest treasure chest that Suzy has opened. Green grass. Chi-Chi, I leave it to you. Suzy turned to her side, Chi-Chi said eagerly. Okay, Lord Day, Chi-Chi said happily, with an excited expression on her face. Looking up at the treasure chest of unknown height, on. He took a deep breath, and his jewel-like eyes shone brightly. For opening treasure chests, she has an extraordinary love. If before, May faced the treasure chest, She still doesn't have the ability to turn them all on at once. But now, she is already a tier 4 magician. After entering the intermediate level, her strength has become a lot stronger. Take a step forward. Chi-Chi completed the silent recitation of the magic spell in an instant. Next moment, an extremely powerful tornado formed in the territory. Compared with last time, this time the tornado is dozens of times stronger. Suzy nodded slightly, full of emotion towards Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi is already at the 4th level, and the power of this magic is comparable to the full blow of a 6th level powerhouse. Suzy looked at Chi-Chi waving her arms, with a surprised expression on her face. He has never heard of it. What magician? In such a short time. Continuous advancement. Even the most common phoenix magic was used by her with the power of advanced magic. I can only say that Chi-Chi's talent is too strong. Suzy smiled and shook his head. His eyes were full of admiration for Chi-Chi. The stronger Chi-Chi is, the better. Becoming a territory-affiliated race, its life's destiny has long been bound to the territory. The stronger Chi-Chi is, it means that Suzy's territory will be stronger. When countless treasure chests are opened, dissipated in the air as points of light. A series of prompts sounded in front of Suzy's ears. Congratulations, you have obtained 1,000 source crystals and 100 source points. Congratulations, you have obtained the building Catgirl theme restaurant. Congratulations, you have obtained 2,000 source crystal points. Congratulations, you have obtained the building amusement park. Congratulations, you have obtained the equipment death badge. Congratulations, you have obtained the equipment Wanli Wu trace talisman. Congratulations, you have obtained 1,000 source points. Congratulations, you have won the building Wanbao building. Hey, 3 buildings exploded unexpectedly. Suzy summed up all the items. Weapons, equipment, and props of various qualities. Suzy didn't bother to take a look, and put it directly into the inventory. Fortunately, there is no limit to the number of spaces in the inventory. Otherwise, just storing equipment of various qualities would be a problem. After so many plunders, Suzy himself didn't know how many weapons and helmets he had. Among them, there are tens of thousands of purple equipment and props. One can imagine what a huge fortune this is. When the main city is opened, Suzy will go to the main city, try to replace all useless equipment with source crystals, and turn them into resources for the evolution of the territory. Think for a moment. Suzy took the special buildings he noticed in his hand. Catgirl theme restaurant, amusement park, Wanbao building. With a glance, their data has already appeared in front of his eyes. Catgirl theme restaurant. Type. Restaurant. Quality. Purple. Function. Leisure afternoon tea. Introduction. Who wouldn't want to have a cat girl in a maid outfit calling for her master? Amusement park. Type. Amusement rides. Quality. Purple. Function. Gather all amusement facilities. Asking for flowers. Description. Have fun. Wanbao building. Type. Air transportation. Quality. Purple. Function. 10 rough stones appear every day for cutting stones. Introduction. In the Wanbao building, there is Wanbao. 1 knife is poor, 1 knife is rich. 3 purple level buildings. Suzy was a little surprised. Catwoman theme park. It happens that there is a catgirl in my territory. Suzy chuckled lightly. He casually threw it to the side of the old summer palace. Buildings rise with the wind. Finally, it turned into a Japanese-style Western-style restaurant. If you have time, you can send a few catgirl girls to try to be maids. Suzy rubbed his chin, thinking subconsciously. Cough cough. He just wanted to see what a catwoman in maid clothes looked like. Look back. Suzy looked at the second amusement park. There are all kinds of interesting facilities in the amusement park, and some facilities can even improve certain abilities of arms and accessories. Put a playground in the territory, and the residents in the territory will not be bored. And the goblins can also enter and play. Suzy threw it out. Turned into a giant playground. Ferris wheel, carousel, roller coaster, haunted house, etc. Or it can nourish the spirit, or exercise the will. Each has a unique function. Wanbao building. Suzy looked at the third building. It should be called Gambling Stone Wanbao building. Suzy said softly. Like a pond, one relies on fishing to evolve items from all worlds. One is the rough stone that keeps showing seals, and no one knows what's in it. But someone cut an artifact out of it. Suzy murmured to himself. Unexpectedly, he actually got another luck building. Hope he has better luck pills. Report. 41%. Chapter 163. Top 10 Legends, I'm Messing Mythology Nest. The buildings in the territory have increased again. Chi-Chi looked at the newly appeared buildings in the territory, with a curious look on her face. Every building built by the Lord is very unique. The city Lord's mansion is beautiful and full of pavilions. Watching pool, surrounded by clouds and mist. Pond, where all kinds of strange things can be fished. There are countless strange buildings. Everything opened her eyes. Since following Susie, she's seen too many amazing buildings, equipment and clothes. Follow the Lord. She can always see all kinds of novel props and different scenery. If possible, Chi-Chi wants to be by Susie's side all the time. If you think about it, seeing Susie with a faint smile on his face. The corners of Chi-Chi's mouth turned up slightly, and she was also happy for Susie in her heart. Chi-Chi did a good job. Susie stretched out her hand to caress the white snow ears on Chi-Chi's head, and smiled slightly. Get 3 purple buildings. It means that there will be 3 more artifacts in the territory in the future. 23 is different from the blue quality up to the 7th level. Purple quality buildings possesses the potential to become an artifact. So, Susie cannot care about white, green, blue quality equipment props. But items of purple quality, Susie will treasure them. Every purple level equipment is one of the rare foundations. Chi-Chi feels the most sensitive ears. Rubbed by Susie's big hands. He immediately lowered his head. A trace of flush appeared on his pretty white face. As long as the Lord is satisfied. Chi-Chi bowed her head, speaking in a soft voice. Leader, my lord, let's continue to open the treasure chest. Chi-Chi felt that she couldn't take it anymore. Susie is not in a hurry. I feel that Chi-Chi's small ears are very comfortable to the touch. The textbook says, some bunny girls have a small round tail underneath. But Susie has never seen. Very curious. No more rubbing Chi-Chi's head. A bright light flashed on Susie's hand. 10 golden treasure chests appeared on the spot, neatly arranged. Come on, Chi-Chi. It is good. Chi-Chi breathed a sigh of relief, and quickly left Sus's side in small steps. Just almost. I couldn't help but want to pee. These 10 treasure chests. Chi-Chi did not use magic. Wow. The golden treasure chests were opened one after another, turning into light spots and dissipating. Leaving 10 props exuding a faint golden light on the spot. 10 golden legends. Susie gently waved. 10 legends have appeared in the hand. Susie glanced over, and a golden light burst out of his eyes. Big explosion. In the palm of Susie, the legendary props slowly rotated. 5 summoning orders for heroes, 4 weapons with unlimited growth, and 1 mysterious item. Susie's eyes were slightly fiery. Because among the 5 hero summoning orders, there are 4 of them are plants. Chi-Chi, you are amazing. Susie couldn't help it, picked up Chi-Chi, and kissed Chi-Chi hard on her fair face. Then he put it down and excitedly looked at the hero summoning token in his hand. What? Chi-Chi was attacked suddenly by Susie and messed up. The corners of the mouth pulled unconsciously to the sides. Laughing out of a crescent moon. Susie didn't notice Chi-Chi's change. His eyes have been completely attracted. 5 golden summoning tokens were taken out by him alone. Snake Man is a legendary hero. It just so happens that this can be given to the teacher. Now that the teacher has all the arms and heroes, there is great hope of becoming a god in the future. Susie is delighted. There is a legendary hero and a group of legendary arms Nuwa tribe. It is enough to help Lu Ruyan remove all obstacles on the road to becoming a god. Not God, will not live forever, even a demigod. The lifespan is only thousands of years. Only become a god. As long as you don't get killed, you can easily live for hundreds of millions of years. This is the huge gap between not becoming a god and becoming a god. Susie doesn't want to be on the road ahead. Becoming alone. Put the summoning token of the snake human hero and the token of the Nuwa clan arms together. You can surprise your teacher in the future. After solving one, Susie looked at the 4 major plant-based hero summoning cards. Come out. Susie used it without hesitation. On the summoning card of the 4 heroes, a burst of dazzling light suddenly burst out. When the light fades, 4 10-meter-high sacred trees appeared on the spot. A leaf is like an osmanthus flower, and a bright round of 180 months hangs on the top of the tree, and it gradually becomes colder around it. A bare sacred tree, covered in red flames, only appeared for a moment, and the temperature around it began to rise rapidly. 2 sacred trees, one on the left and one on the right, stand against each other. Laurel and Fuzang. Their information appeared in front of Susie's eyes, and he knew their names. Unexpectedly, he actually summoned these 2 famous sacred trees. Susie looked urgently at the other 2 sacred trees. There is a faint sound of chanting on one plant, and under the crisp leaves, there are exquisite white jade fruits. Just take a look. Countless thoughts came to mind. The other plant is full of fairy air, with huge and plump peaches hanging all over the branches. But when Susie knew their names, can't help but take a breath. Bodhi tree and flat peach tree. Did I offend mythology nest today? Susie looked at the 4 mythical trees and couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. Chapter 161 was unsealed. I wanted to give out some benefits, but the review did not allow it. The new year is here, and Xiaopuji wishes everyone a happy new year. Report. 41%. Chapter 164. Refill the 4 supreme heroes, the heavens change. Susie never expected. He was able to draw the mythical sacred tree. Susie once knew about the universe C. He was surprised to find that all kinds of sacred trees in the mythology of the previous life disappeared here. The only living, conscious plant. It is the tree of life that gave birth to the elves. Besides, like other plants, there is little singularity. That's why the plant department will be considered the most wasteful unit template. But Susie summoned today all kinds of sacred trees in the mythology of the previous life. Laurel, fusang, Bodhi tree, peach tree. He brings mythology to reality. Their current qualities are just legends, what if they are supreme? Susie couldn't help thinking about it, and couldn't help swallowing. Took a deep breath. He walked to the side of the 4 sacred trees and put his hands on them. Alienation. Susie drank lightly. Moment. The 4 sacred trees erupted with dazzling light. At the same time, among the little heavens, the endless purple energy suddenly manifested, extending hundreds of millions of miles across the heavens. In the endless void outside the small heavens, 4 incomparable sacred trees emerged. The stars turned into dust in front of it, and the galaxy flowed under its feet. A moon hangs high above the leaves that shade the sea of stars. The moonlight is flowing, and the fragrance is wanton. Low moonlight, countless planets have transformed from barren to living planets in an instant. All kinds of strange insects and beasts on it gave birth to wisdom in a short time. It seems to evolve civilization. At the same time, standing in the endless sea of universes, the monster universe that overwhelms hundreds of millions of races. Endless rays of light filled the air, and endless purple air rose. At this moment, numerous monster race breakthroughs. Numerous newborn monster races have their bloodlines purified and their potential soared. Almost at this moment, the 10 supreme masters of the Yaozu universe. Chi-Chi wakes up from a deep sleep. His gaze sweeps across the entire Yaozu universe, trying to find out where the vision came from. But they speculate, can't figure it out. What happened? My clan's luck has increased by half in a short period of time. Could it be that someone from my monster clan has achieved the highest? A supreme voice shook the sky. No, the cause of the vision does not come from within us, but from the cosmic sea. A monster who is good at calculation shook his head in denial. Investigate. Mobilize all the forces of the monster clan and find out the reason. Half luck is enough to make my monster clan have one more master. Ha ha ha, this cosmic sea deserves to be dominated by my monster clan. That's right, choose the evildoer among the monster god emperors and let them be promoted. It's time to lay down a territory for my monster clan. 10 supremely excited. Although I don't know why, this extra half luck is a real benefit. A red flame tree spans billions of stars, on which the flames fell to the cosmic sea. Moment. Countless strange fires were born, countless divine fires evolved. The endless universe turns into a sea of flames. But this sea of fire is not destruction. Instead, it gives new life. Countless new flame life forms are born from the flames, and evolve into a new race in the universe. At the same time, one of the overlord races of the universe, the Golden Crow. Boundless red flames sweep across the universe for billions of miles. Countless newly born little golden crows. Some have an extra divine technique out of thin air, while others have an extra mysterious rune bone on their chest. Also at this time, the 2 supremes of the Golden Crow universe suddenly opened their eyes. What happened? My family's luck has increased by a full 20%. It can actually block the highest deduction. I don't know, let Jin Wu check below to find out what happened in the universe. 20% luck is enough to make our clan have 2 more supreme beings. Big sister, the Golden Crow universe is too small, it's time to expand our territory. Okay, as long as 2 more supreme beings are born, our territory can be multiplied several times. Our Golden Crow clan is about to rise. A 7-colored divine tree filled with the law of the Great Way. Numerous white jade fruits of different sizes bear on it. The sacred tree shakes. Numerous fruits are scattered in the universe sea. In the endless universe, countless lives get a white jade fruit on this day. Hold it in your hand and fall into an epiphany. From this day on, countless universes have born countless geniuses and monsters, stepping out of their universes and stepping into the universe. A boulevard fruit tree filled with fairy spirit. The juicy pink peaches, which are bigger than the planet, are half hidden among the branches and leaves. Fruity fragrance, scatter endless breath. There is a mortal supreme who accidentally gets a ray of breath, so that he can rejuvenate and live out a second life. With mountains and rivers blending into a ray of breath, a faint consciousness began to be born. But it is conceivable that in the future, after all, real spiritual wisdom will be born. Become a strange mountain in the world. Also at this moment, the supreme discovery of countless races. The mysteries of the universe began to become confusing and could no longer be calculated. A storm is about to come and the wind fills the building with a sense of crisis. Awakened countless races in the universe. Blue star race. The highest that has just been quiet for a few days. Suddenly woke up again. What happened? Why did the luck of my human race suddenly increase by 30%? With the size of my human race, even if you are born to the highest level, you will not increase your luck by 30% at once. Could it be that our race gave birth to a supreme evildoer, enough to change the general situation of our race? We must find out Jiao Chu, and pay attention to the movements of other races. I have a hunch that the universe will not be peaceful. The sky is full of secrets, the avenue is covered, and another era of great conquest is about to come. This is a great era, and someone is destined to achieve the highest. Let's fight for crossing. All we have to do is protect our human race. The opportunity for us to rise in the West has come. Let the God Emperor below, from now on, hit the rich with all their strength. 30% luck is enough to increase the digits of our human race to the highest level. We must grasp it. It's time for me, Shen Ying, to give birth to a supreme again. From this day on, the heavens suddenly fell into a strange calm. Many God Emperors who have explored the universe and searched for the highest opportunity in the past. They returned one after another and entered retreat. Natural caller. Suzy looked excitedly, looking at the 4 supreme sacred trees in front of him. Report. 41%. Chapter 165. Crazy skills, supreme future. 4 mythical species with no superior potential. Suzy checked the information of the 4 with great anticipation. Supreme laurel. Race. Plant. Quality. Supreme. Grade 1. Talent. Emperor Ooze. Constitution. 500. Agility. 650. Spirit. 999. Skills. Kiji, full of divine brilliance, allowing animals and plants to give birth to wisdom. Moonlight strike, summoning the power of the moon. Youngling can breed a race in the body. Growth stage. Nascent stage. Loyalty. 100% permanent. Introduction. My lord, Yugi sends you greetings. www. Emperor Ointment. The moment Suzy saw his talent, his pupils constricted. This is the method of exploding soldiers of the monster clan in the prehistoric novels of the previous life. Turn everything into a demon and develop wisdom. If the monsters know that I have a hero who can give birth to the emperor, I'm afraid they will take me away at all costs. Suzy couldn't help but shudder when he thought of that scene. Yaozu. There are 10 supreme masters in the clan, and their strength is not weaker than that of the human race. He is the super overlord of the cosmic sea. 517. Now he. Far from reaching the degree to which it can confront such an overlord race. Suzy continued to look down. Kiji. Youngling. Suzy widened his eyes again. This skill is a bit against the sky. It's no weaker than Shenliu's 3,000 worlds. It can inspire wisdom for plants and animals, and even breed its own race. Unheard of. Suzy couldn't help feeling. Yugi, it is said that the supreme divine tree that grows on the lunar planet can give birth to a fairy Chang'e. Suzy chuckled lightly. I feel very bold in my thinking. Introduction. Sir, are you sure you want to give birth to the Chang'e family? Suddenly, a reminder appeared before Suzy's eyes, and he immediately looked up at the laurel divine tree. Really? Introduction. As long as the Lord wants, I can edit it. Hiss. Isn't that the same as the tree of life of the elves? Suzy took a deep breath. Introduction. Sir, the race I conceived is definitely stronger than her. Yu Gui Shenshu didn't seem to like hearing this name, so he immediately emphasized it. Yes, you must be the strongest. Suzy chuckled. No superior potential, and is an ancient mythical tree. No one knows where her future will be. Supreme hibiscus sacred tree. Race. Plant. Quality. Supreme. Grade 1. Talent. Fire of the great sun. Constitution. 800. Agility. 750. 600. Skills. Union, breeding spirit fire and spirit flame at all times, blazing Yangyan, infinite and terrifying high temperature, melting everything. Youngling, the ancestor tree of the Golden Crow tribe, bred the Golden Crow. Growth stage. Nascent stage. Loyalty. 100% permanent. Introduction. Master Lord, greetings to you. Damn it, it can really breed the Golden Crow. Suzy was shocked again. The Golden Crow clan is also one of the overlord races in the Cosmic Sea. Though they have only 2 supreme beings. But the strength of the 2 Golden Crows is top-notch even in the highest high school. If Fuzang gave birth to countless Golden Crows, wouldn't it mean that I can have my own Golden Crows? Suzy surprise. Fuzang really brought him a big surprise. Supreme Bodhi Tree. Race. Plant. Quality. Supreme. Grade 1. Talent. Enlightenment. Essence. 400 CDCB. Agility. 350. 1888. Skills. White Bodhi Seeds Enlightenment plus 1,100 pieces per year. Green Bodhi Seeds Enlightenment plus 2, 50 pieces per year. Blue Bodhi Seeds Enlightenment plus 5, 30 pieces per year. Purple Bodhi Seeds Enlightenment plus 10, Understanding plus 3, 1 piece per year. Golden Bodhi Seeds Enlightenment plus max, Understanding plus 3, Aptitude plus 3, 1 pieces 100 years. Growth Stage. Nascent Stage. Loyalty. 100% permanent. Introduction. My lord, Bodhi sends his greetings to you. Sacred Tree of Enlightenment. Suzy's eyes are shining. The Bodhi seed that can enlighten people is enough to drive the gods crazy. After entering the gods, for the Lord, it is necessary to use the rules of territory perception. But the power of rules. Illusory. Often, many talented Tianzhao cannot make any progress for hundreds of millions of years after becoming gods. But Suzy looked at the branches of the Bodhi tree of various qualities. At the top of the sacred tree, a golden Bodhi shone with dense light. This moment, he seems to have seen the scene of the gods scrambling for a Bodhi. Just this Bodhi seed, it is enough to make Suzy become a god. In order to understand the law faster, you can even get a splash of wealth by virtue of this. Supreme Flat Peach Tree. Race. Plant. Quality. Supreme. Grade 1. Talent. Life Extension. Constitution. 800. Agility. 200. 790. Skills. 10-year Flat Peach Show plus 100-year Flat Peach Show plus 20,000-year Flat Peach Show plus 100. 10,000 years of flat peaches, heaven and earth live together. 100,000 years of flat peaches, the ground becomes a god. Growth Stage. Nascent Stage. Loyalty. 100% permanent. Introduction. My lord, Pantao sends you my greetings. It is rumored that in the back garden of the Queen Mother of Heaven, the flat peach tree is planted. The maturity period is divided into 3,000 years, 6,000 years, and 9,000 years. Among them, 9,000 years of eating can live the same life as heaven and earth. The supreme flat peach tree can live the same life as heaven and earth for 10,000 years. But on top of that, there is an extra 100,000 year pick. If you eat it, you can instantly become a god. When you see the last line, Suzy was slightly taken aback. Become a god instantly. Fear, other flat peaches, even if eaten, are nothing but flat peaches. But a 100,000-year-old flat peach can instantly become a god. Suzy shocked. This effect is too heaven-defying. Report 1. 41%. Chapter 166. The 4 Great Artifacts, Orbiting Black Sail. After a short ecstasy, Suzy gradually came back to his senses. The future is bright and the future is promising. Suzy's brows burst into endless heroism. You can go under the world tree and get to know your companions. Suzy smiled and said to several new heroes. Several sacred trees shook their trunks, and the leaves rustled. After a few people leave, Suzy and Chi-Chi looked away. My lord, let's see what's left. Chi-Chi was a little impatient. She was dumbfounded when she saw the 4 sacred trees just now. There is even a bright moon hanging on the top of a tree. There is also a sacred tree burning with flames all over its body. Between the universe, it is amazing. Suzy nodded and continued to watch. Magic broom, magic robe. Suzy raised his eyebrows slightly. The 2 pieces of equipment volleying in the hand become bigger. It turned into a wheat-colored broom and a black windbreaker robe. Here you are. Suzy simply took a look at the attributes of the 2 magic equipment. Same as your own legendary suit. No different. Here, oh. Chi-Chi raised her head to look at Suzy with her eyes wide open, her face full of disbelief. My lord, this is too precious. This is legendary equipment. How can you give it to me? Chi-Chi immediately waved her hand to refuse, her little head swayed like a rattle. Who will not give it to you? Who can be more suitable than you? Without further ado, Suzy handed over 2 pieces of legendary equipment to Chi-Chi. Throughout the territory, there is nothing more suitable for these 2 magical equipment than Chi-Chi. With these 2 pieces of legendary magic equipment, Chi-Chi's strength will undoubtedly be greatly strengthened again. Yes, thank you, Master. Chi-Chi's eyes flickered, and the flames in the eyes were burning. She thinks the Lord is too kind. But he didn't help the territory at all. She has to work harder to become stronger. Originally planned to hit the 5th step in 2 days. But now Chi-Chi plans to break through the 5th level tomorrow, and then break through the 6th level, stepping into the 1st level. The cultivation speed is still too slow. Chi-Chi thought in her heart. If it is known by other people who practice magic, what will they think in their hearts? I'm afraid I will be angry and yell. For this. Suzy naturally didn't know. Give 2 pieces of magic equipment to Chi-Chi. Suzy looked at the other 2 weapons and equipment. Bow of Life, Rose Flower Language. The Bow of Life is a green and gold-colored bow with impressive power. This can be handed over to Warner. Suzy muttered in his heart. Her unit is an elf, and the weapon she uses is a bow. And I already have a bow and arrow, which is superfluous to me. Put it away. Suzy took out the Rose Language. It was actually a red gold stick engraved with rose patterns. Rose Language. Quality. Golden. Grade 1. Function. Reduce energy consumption, enhance energy recovery. Introduction. Better and longer lasting. After reading the introduction, Suzy's eyes lit up. This rose flower language is simply tailor-made for little fairies. The goblin is the only support in the team. In the world battlefield, restore and bless multiple heroes at the same time. The consumption of her is unimaginable. And with rose language. Then the goblin's durability will skyrocket. Put it away likewise. Suzy plans to give it to the little fairy next time. Then he turned his gaze to the last piece of legendary equipment. This is a model of a sailing ship in black. Orbit black sail. Quality. Golden. Grade 1. Function. Throw into the sea of the universe, find the unknown world universe, and record the anchor point. Features. Ignore all dangerous places, ignore all forbidden places. Introduction. This is a magical black sailboat, untouchable and unstoppable. Let's go and explore the unknown world. Orbit determined black sails. They can actually explore and find unknown worlds in the cosmic ocean. A hint of surprise flashed in Suzy's eyes. Even if I just discover a world of unknown life, I can make a lot of money. Asking for flowers, Suzy thought, and don't worry at all, it will be caught. Then, you will find the unknown world for me. Suzy with anticipation. Put the sailboat in the air. It is like a giant ship sailing on the sea, rippling waves in the void. Then melt into the void. Disappear, and the next moment. Suzy felt in his mind. There is an extra black light spot that emits a faint light. He gazed intently. Immediately, the consciousness seemed to be attached to an object. After Suzy was silent for a while. I feel like I have turned into a sailboat. Looking around, finds itself sailing ever faster. Surrounded by colorful space turbulence. I hope to find a living planet. After Suzy looked at it for a while. Then back out. Also from this day on. A black sailboat that can travel through the sky appeared in the cosmic sea. And as time goes by, its size is increasing. There was a peerless power who wanted to pursue it, but was finally lost in the universe. Some god kings also discovered that it is a legendary equipment. Want to capture, but found it impossible to touch. Until endless ages pass, black sails in the cosmic sea. It has become another unsolved mystery of the universe sea. It's finally over. Suzy chuckled. 10 legends, 3 purple buildings, and this time a total of 50 million source crystals and 8 million source points have been harvested. Add the 380 million source crystals and 80 million source points harvested before. Now I have 430 million source crystals and 88 million source points in my hand. Suzy quickly calculated in his mind. When this number is obtained. Feel my heart beating. Undoubtedly, this is a number enough to make people crazy. It's also time to turn the territory into a god. I don't know how many turns it will be. With so many source crystals and source points in hand. Suzy couldn't help but let the territory rush an inch towards God's domain. Report. 42%. Chapter 167. Great changes in the territory. What should I do if I deceive my master and destroy my ancestors? Farewell to Chi-Chi. Suzy walked through the barrier alone. Come under the world tree. Next to Linquan, the willow, the magic tree and the newborn laurel, the linden tree, the 7 heroes. Standing around the spring, absorbing the aura that escapes from the spring. It seems that they already know each other. Xiaoju is still under the world tree. Constantly swinging the slender sword leaves, every time the sword is drawn, the air will stir up waves of ripples. See Suzy coming. My lord, my lord, my lord. A crisp voice came from their mouths. Xiaojuya stopped practicing sword and flew towards Suzy. You don't need to worry about me, practice yourself. Suzy waved. 353, hand. Then standing under the world tree, a set of data appeared in front of his eyes. Territory. Natural territory. Affiliation. Suzy. Level. 90. Area. 5,000 square kilometers. Building. Watching pool, city lord's mansion, pond, fan building. Transformation 5,000 source crystals per day, 500 source days. Residence 13 million. Power of faith 15 million strands per day. I don't know what will change after the transformation. The corner of Suzy's mouth smiled, and his heart moved slightly. Do you want to consume 20 million source crystals and 5 million source points to transfer the territory? A reminder appeared in front of my eyes. Yes, Suzy nodded without hesitation. Next moment. Source crystals and source points dissipate in Suzy's inventory. Boom, boom, boom. The entire natural collar suddenly erupted with a strong vibration. Lord's palace. Xiao Wanqing and the little goblin rushed out of the Lord's mansion together. Seeing each other, they were slightly taken aback. Just understand something. Sister Wanner was in a hurry, the master must have done it. The little goblin fully showed her sister's mind, and pulled Xiao Wanqing's warm and soft fingers like jade. When feeling the frost-cold temperature on his hands. Only then did I understand. Why do you say Xiao Wanqing? There is a special flavor. Holding her jade hand. The goblin feels as if she is holding a piece of ice. It's freezing cold. I don't know it's. The little demon thought carefully about turning. Now Sister Wanner has also been taken into the pocket of the master. Think so. The master may be in a world of ice and fire. Want to come. Xiao Yao was careful, but also had some expectations. Okay. Xiao Wanqing nodded, meeting the eyes of the goblin looking up and down. A blush flashed across his face. There is a feeling of doing something wrong and being discovered. The two quickly walked out of the Lord's mansion together. Clearing. It was already full of rabbitmen and catmen who couldn't figure out the situation. And Chi-Chi sat on a flying broom, constantly comforting the residents. In the sound of boom. 5,000 kilometers of natural territory. Shrouded by colorful divine light, it is filled with air. The mighty southeastern part of the endless continent caused countless human lords to look at the sky. I don't know what happened. The movement of the endless continent. Nature cannot escape the eyes of the void gods, although they couldn't see the inside of Suzy's territory. But you can see the movement caused by the magical turn of the territory. Qingying, your apprentice seems to be starting to transform the territory. Seeing this, Feng Jutian couldn't help being a little serious. For any lord, the transformation of a territory into God's domain is a very important step. Her niece Feng Zixuan, after turning 6 times in the territory. The territorial area is as high as 500 square kilometers. This area, even among the new generation of lords of the entire human race. They are all extremely front. But since she saw Suzy's territory, suddenly felt very sad for Feng Zixuan. Compared with this monster. It is too miserable, with a territory area of 5,000 square kilometers. It's really disappointing. It was Wu Qingying who crushed the world back then. Even if in the end the territory completes the world rare 9 ranks. But its territory is only 2,500 square kilometers. So, she was very curious, if Suzy can complete 9 revolutions. How big her territory will become. After he became a god. How strong it will be. Yes, Wu Qingying was speechless. Territory area of flora. It is much larger than other departments. But the size of Suzy's territory is enough to be called terrifying. She was obviously the number 1 female Tianzhao in the world back then. But if compared with her apprentice Suzy, on the contrary, it seems somewhat insufficient. For a moment, she even wants to be jealous of Suzy. Step by step, before becoming a god. His territorial area is tens or hundreds of times that of others. Then after becoming a god, the area of his initial god's domain planet will also be tens or hundreds of times that of others. 3.4 the power of such a planet. Enough to crush all gods. Even more frightening is that the change of its divine domain planet will expand exponentially based on the initial area of the territory. This gives it the power to dominate the younger generation. Even enough to compete with the older generation. Can only say, with such a huge territory, Suzy. Once God, then he is an invincible existence in the same level. It is even possible, rebel against higher level gods. I heard that you should beat your apprentice as early as possible. With her talent, if she surpasses me in the future, how can she pay back if she wants to deceive her master and destroy her ancestors? Wu Qingying frowned slightly. Suddenly, I feel that the future is a little dangerous. Report. 42%. Chapter 168. The calamity of becoming a god, the space is stable. Li Zimu was dressed in blue, looking at the natural collar wrapped in colorful divine light. Look full of anticipation, based on the territory area of Xiao's. Even the Tianzhao and evildoers in the clan are far inferior. It is difficult to imagine its future achievements. However, the plant is a god, and he has no previous experience, so he needs to explore everything by himself. If the plant department wants to become a god, the help to become a god must be very terrifying. Coupled with the fact that Suzy's talent is so monstrous, the test given by Blue Star may be even more terrifying. Li Zimu was a little worried. In the vast history of the human race, there is no shortage of talented people, but some of them are permanently stuck in the catastrophe of becoming gods. In the end, they couldn't survive the years and turned into historical dust. I trust my apprentice, Wu Qingying chuckled. At the beginning, no one dared to try the 9th revolution. But only her heart is higher than the sky. Although the test given by Blue Star is indeed terrifying, there is always a glimmer of life. 25. Just grab. Then you can become a god. Suzy's talent is not weaker than mine, and even if he becomes the first person in the human race to become a god with the plant department, then he will gain terrifying luck, and may even have the hope of a god emperor in the future. Wu Qingying laughed and said, "Why are those god emperors, descendants of the supreme family? Can't surpass myself. It is because she is in the Blue Star universe. The very first Vermilion Bird template godmaker. Obtain the luck blessings from the Blue Star luck in the Vermilion Bird family." Bad luck. It's hard to say. The plant department is different from other departments. Apart from the tree of life, there are no powerful plants in the universe. The concept is weak, and his future will be very difficult. Feng Judian shook his head. The reason why Wu Qingying can improve so fast. It is the first time that the human race has established diplomatic relations with the Vermilion Bird family, and they are connected by luck. Born Vermilion Bird template, Wu Qingying, as the first batch of people who have the Vermilion Bird template. Out of a crowd of Vermilion Bird templates, the first one will become a god. Directly robbed most of the luck brought by the fusion. Moreover, the Vermilion Bird race itself is the overlord race known as the Cosmic Ocean. The concept of Vermilion Bird covers the heavens and worlds, countless universes. It's hard not to improve. But plants are different. The concept of the flora of countless races in the universe C. Even thought to be weaker than slime. In this case, if Suzy wants to improve in the future, it may be much slower than other departments. But are his plants weak? Wu Qingying shook her head in disapproval. Suzy's troops and heroes are obviously not ordinary plants. But with his own power, it is difficult for him to change the concept of the plant system that Universe C has had for countless years. Feng Judian denied. What all races in the universe ultimately compete for is the concept of race and luck. The concept of the tyranny of dragons and phoenixes has spread throughout the endless universe of the universe. A powerful pronoun in itself. And therefore, their race is blessed with a steady stream of luck from the universe. As long as the concept of dragon and phoenix is strong, it still exists in Yuhai 10,000 clans. They will always prosper and be strong. The future is infinite, it is too early to say. Li Muzzy felt that his nephew was very mysterious. It's revealed, every class and hero. It seems to completely subvert the concept of plants. If he could take these plants, manifested in the heavens, the accumulation of less becomes more. There is almost no upper limit in the future. Wen Yan. The three were silent and said no more. Suzy's situation is too special, and the future is not yet determined. But other lords' caps, almost visible to the naked eye. It's about to start. The gazes of the three of them converged on natural collar. The sight of the other gods also focus at the same time. It is true that Suzy has shown Yu Liang in this Tianzhao battle. It is difficult for them not to pay attention to this human lord. Keisha is not dead, I can sense it through my blood, but I can't find any traces of her in the small heavens. It was deduced, but it was blocked in the dark. Will it be there? The god emperor of the angel clan frowned. This junior lord of the human race is too mysterious. Talented evildoer, strength is unparalleled. Being concerned by the great powers of the human race. It's not good for him to take Keisha back by force. Suzy doesn't know. I have attracted the attention of so many gods. Congratulations, you have consumed 20 million source crystals and 5 million source points, and the territory level has been raised to level 91. When the reminder in front of you appears, the territory changed dramatically in an instant. The first major change is the territorial area. Natural collar began to expand outwards crazily. 100 kilometers, 500 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers. 1,500 kilometers. Expansion of the natural collar. Directly cover the entire Big Rock Desert completely. Endless desert. The moment he merged into the territory, he was enveloped by the breath of the world tree. Countless fresh and tender green grass emerged from the desert. In a very short period of time, the desert put on a green dress. The territorial area is 6,500 square kilometers. Suzy was overjoyed. The source crystals and source points consumed are worth it, 783. With just one turn, the area of the newly added territory is larger than that of other lords. And this is just the beginning. Next moment, Chi-Chi, who was originally sitting on the broom, guided the residents of the territory. Suddenly broom suddenly fell from the sky. What? Chi-Chi didn't pay attention and was thrown to the ground. It hurts. Chi-Chi rubbed her buttocks that hurt from being thrown in a daze. Don't know what happened. Stand up. Want to pick up the broom and fly again. But found, no matter how she uses it, even the broom could not get her up. Isn't this legendary equipment? Could it be broken? Chi-Chi shook her head. I want to fly against the wind. But the next moment, she was surprised to find that he actually lost the ability to fly in the air. What happened? Chi-Chi was a little confused and looked around blankly. The space is reinforced. Under the world tree, Suzy keenly sensed the changes in the territory. Looking at Xiaoju, at this moment, her sword leaf could no longer pierce space ripples. The space is stable, and when the god's domain transforms in the future, it will withstand the power of evolution without collapsing. Suzy understood in her heart. Report 1. 42%. Chapter 169. Territory expansion. The lords of the four regions fight to the desperate. At the same time, the whirling branches and leaves on the world tree rustled. An incomparably huge momentum soared into the sky. Boom. Next moment, in the space in front of the world tree, a huge crack hundreds of meters high and tens of meters wide was opened. With a flash of light, the world tree appeared in it. Rooted in it, skyrocketed. 20,000 meters, 30,000 meters, 40,000 meters, 50,000 meters. When the world tree reaches a height of 50,000 meters, the branches and leaves covering the sky and the sun cover the whole newly opened space. Numerous root systems, close to the space guest place. The space that originally wanted to be closed gradually became peaceful. The world tree is completely rooted here. A small world has been opened up, and the core of the territory has been hidden in the small world since then, and no one else can find it if they want to find it. Suzy was very pleasantly surprised, and opened the territory panel again. Territory. Natural territory. Affiliation. Suzy. Level. 91. Area. 65,000 square kilometers. Building. Watching pool. City Lord's mansion. Pond. Fan building. Transformation 20,000 source crystals per day, 2,000 source points per day. Residents. 13 million. Power of faith 15 million strands per day. The transformation of source crystals has changed from 5,000 a day to 20,000 a day. The source points have increased from 500 points per day to 2,000 points. It has quadrupled. Suzy beamed with joy. After a turn of the territory, World Tree's ability to transform source crystals and source points is stronger. Yuanjing and Yuandian, never too much. Continue. Suzy intends to consume all source crystals and source points today. However, when he wanted to transform again, a message appeared before his eyes. Your territory has been blocked by other territories and cannot be expanded for now. Suzy frowned, but soon relaxed it. Territorial expansion must be built upon actual matter. It is impossible to create something out of nothing. And once other territories are encountered during expansion, then there are only two options. Either give up expansion, or let that territory disappear. Xiaoju, the god willow, the catfish tree and the parasitic spores, each of you guards a city wall. Eliminate all obstacles in the expansion of the territory. Can it be done? Suzy turned around and said to several heroes who had already reached level 90. Previously subject to territorial restrictions, they can only reach level 90. But now the territory is upgraded. They can also continue to evolve. Yes, my lord, give it to me, no problem. Jia, guaranteed to complete the task. The four heroes responded. Then they set off and walked towards a city wall respectively. Then go on. Suzy has nothing to worry about the heroes. With their strength, enough to withstand everything. Besides, there are P-cannons on the city wall. Really can't boom him. There are 4 areas adjacent to Big Rock Desert. They are Forest of Dark Night, Storm Canyon, and Plateau of Despair, Plain of Holy Light. Big Rock Desert changes. A huge movement. Nature is the first time. discovered by these neighboring lords. After all, there is a huge monster-like natural caller next to it. They have trouble sleeping and eating. And now, when natural caller cover the entire big stone desert, these lords could sit still no longer. Border of the dark forest. Several lords gathered together. If normal, they can break each other's heads. But at this time, all of them were frowning. As the territory of the plant department so huge, a lord couldn't help but panic and said, the area of this territory has far exceeded them. Is this the time to care about the size of his territory? Obviously he is already transforming his territory. Whether he will stop expanding or not is anyone's guess. If it expands, we will be the first to die. What to do? A lord with well-developed pectoral muscles said in a deep voice. Susie is terrible. It is impossible for us lords to block. Damn it, I don't have a territory-shifting talisman, or I would have run away early. How about we submit to him? Be a subordinate lord. A slender mistress in white suggested. After all, Susie is so powerful and talented. When live, you can see how handsome he is. Become its vassal lord. Not bad at all. Hey, bitch, it's just your broken shoes. If you are willing to give them away, they have to appreciate them too. A scantily clad woman next to her said disdainfully. You. The woman in white was short of breath, so she wanted to stand up and fight with her. Don't quarrel. The most important thing now is to find a way. Not quarrel. Otherwise, you will have to wait to die. Someone stop them. The two snorted softly and returned to their seats. Everyone looked at the natural collar that was filled with divine light. Compare to, they are just like ants. But the ants, those who get money, still want to steal their lives. They who entered the Xiaoju Tianjiao battle, unwilling to die. Damn it, if Suzy wants to expand his territory, he has to ask the lords of our 4 major regions whether he agrees or not. He wants to expand to 4 regions at once, and then unite all the lords of the 4 regions. Fight together, a grumpy lord yelled, with the momentum of a desperate fight. When the others heard the words, their eyes gradually became firmer. For the territory, no matter what, this scene. The same happened in the other 3 regions. They all understand dragging. Go it alone, will be defeated one by Suzy. Only united, just now there was a glimmer of life. And at this time, the 4 heroes of Suzy. They came to a city wall respectively. Report, 42%. Chapter 170. Destruction, Origin Star Core. Is this the rumored, Suzy's troop? It doesn't look scary. He sent only 1 hero. Does he think that a blade of grass can destroy us? He's too arrogant. Just right, we can break them one by one. Forest of Darkness. A group of people saw the 9-leaf sword grass appearing. Slightly stunned, it was the first time they saw the plant hero. When I found out it was just a grass, the tension in my heart gradually dissipated. My lord orders, retreat, or die. The cold voice of the 9-leaf sword grass was transmitted very far. FK, Rizutang can talk. A lord couldn't help being surprised. Be careful, I feel that since Suzy sent him out, he must have some confidence. Someone reminded. Let's go together, I don't believe you can't even beat a grass. Someone said disdainfully. 9-leaf sword grass scanned dozens of lords, but turned a deaf ear to her own words. No more words. Next moment, 9 sword leaves disturbed. The bright and sharp sword energy hit those lords without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. Those lords had no time to stop them, and were hacked to death by the sharp sword energy. Then appear in the core of their respective territories. What a terrifying sword energy. I feel like the whole world is being torn apart. It's terrible. 800. What kind of grass is that? Is this his hero? It's impossible to resist. The lords who were killed one by one and returned to the territory. At this time, he was no longer as calm as before, and fear was written on his soul-like face. Such a scene also appeared in other territories. They really saw the horror of the plant lord. Kill all the lords. The 9-leaf sword grass did not stop. Look at the target at the double-headed snake collar in front of the natural collar. Cut. With a light drink, a beam of sword light that opened up the world. Cut through the sky. Boom. The defensive city wall of the double-headed snake collar collapsed directly. City wall. Thousands of double-headed snakes splashed blood on the spot. No, do not want. At the center of the territory. In a towering statue of a double-headed snake, the lord who has just been reborn in the core. Seeing the walls of his domain crumbled. The 2-headed snake people died tragically, their eyes tearing apart. But the 9-leaf swordgrass showed no mercy. Destroy. Countless sword lights swayed down like raindrops. What? Puff. Run away. CFAC, the endless sword light sprinkled, and the Snake Man residents in its territory came to the ground one by one. Crack. From the core of the territory, there was a crackling sound. The lord of the double-headed snake, who has not yet recovered, the moment the core of the territory was shattered. And then perish. Congratulations, you have successfully destroyed the two-headed snake leader, rewarding you with 10 million source crystals and 1 million source points. Congratulations, you have successfully defeated the dragon leader, rewarding you with 10 million source crystals and 1 million source points. Congratulations, you have successfully defeated the Tyrannosaurus Rex leader, rewarding you with 10 million source crystals and 1 million source points. Congratulations, you have successfully destroyed the leader of the Schwangia turtle, and you will be rewarded with 10 million source crystals and 1 million source points. 4 prompts sounded in Susie's ears in a row. Hey, that's the reward. Susie was a little surprised when he heard the sound. I didn't expect these lords to be so valuable. But after a little thought, he understood. Those who can come back from the world battlefield have more or less gained something. In addition, it needs to transform the territory itself, accumulating source crystals and source points. So, the lords of the endless continent are all fat sheep. Susie reacted. If you have time, you can wander around the endless continent with your territory. After all, my territory can be moved at will. Shaking his head, he stopped thinking about it. Consume all source crystals and source points. I want to see how many times I can transform. Without the hindrance of other territories, Susie gave it a go without hesitation. Congratulations, you have consumed 40 million source crystals and 8 million source points to upgrade your territory to level 92. Congratulations, you have consumed 60 million source crystals and 10 million source points, and your territory has been upgraded to level 93. Congratulations, you have consumed 80 million source crystals and 12 million source points, and your territory has been upgraded to level 94. Congratulations, you have consumed 100 million source crystals and 14 million source points, and your territory has been upgraded to level 95. Congratulations, you have consumed 160 million source crystals and 20 million source points, and your territory has been upgraded to level 96. FK, this is too high. When Susie saw the consumed source crystals and source points, his eyes were red. From level 91 to level 95, each level increases 20 million source crystals and 2 million source points, I can bear it. But from level 95 to level 96, 6,000 Fengyuan crystals and 500 Fengyuan points have been added. Susie is going to be numb. The consumption of this territory is too great. Now I only have 10 million source crystals and 1,300 city source points left in my hands. It's not enough to upgrade again. Susie sighs. I thought that with so many source crystals and source points, not to mention 8 ranks, at least 7 ranks would be fine. But in the end, only 6 turns were completed. However, the territory has changed a lot. Susie glanced over the small world where the world tree was located. The height of the world tree has risen again. 60,000 meters. 70,000 meters. 80,000 meters. 200,000 meters. From 50,000 meters, grow into a 200,000 meter high giant tree. The trunk does not know how wide it is, and endless brilliance flows on it. Also at this time, the world tree really possesses some stalwart power to open up the world. It is rumored that the world tree grows to the extreme, and a single leaf of the sun becomes a planet. Susie unlimited enjoyment. But when I think of the source point I need, I can't help but feel a little sad. The small world has also been reopened. Lightning and thunder, the wind of space blows from time to time. In a dark space, only the world tree blooms endless light. The space is now dozens of times stronger than before. The air has become heavy, and ordinary creatures may not be able to survive in the territory. Susie carefully understands the changes in the territory. There seems to be some mysterious substances in the air. Susie closed his eyes to feel, and let out his divine thoughts. Tiny colorful diamond-shaped particles are scattered in the territory. Origin star core. Susie thought of a possibility. The territory is transformed towards the planet of God's domain. The required source crystals and source points. One is to expand the territory and strengthen the space. The second is to prepare for the territorial evolution of the God's domain planet. And every planet has a star core formed by the condensed origin. This is also the most precious thing on every planet. Each one is priceless, and the small particles in the air. It means the original power in the territory. Already gradually condensing the original star core of natural color. See this scene. A smile finally appeared on Susie's face. Report. 43%. 171st. 5 regions, the sigh of the gods. Susie walked out of the small world. With a thought, came to the side of nine-leaf sword grass. Territory, let's expand again. Susie murmured softly. Boom, boom, boom. The rumbling sound resounded again. The scope of the territory is constantly expanding outward. Encountered a monster lair on the way. A random strike by the hero will defeat it. Roll over. Encounter other lord territories. Directly destroy the core of its territory. Susie, even if I die, I will not let you go. When destroying a territory core, a lord could not hold back his dying curse. Susie shook his head. Taken with a big hand. The entire territory turned into fly ash. Congratulations, you have successfully destroyed the rampant pig collar, obtained 8 million source crystals, and 70 source points. A hint came from my ear. Susie didn't care. 10 minutes later. The rumble is no more. Natural collar stopped expanding. The original southeastern 5 regions. Completely shrouded by natural territory. All lands in its path are destroyed. The monster lair was killed. The source crystals and source points consumed are worth it. Susie turned around. Looking at the territory with no end in sight, he smiled slightly. Open the territory panel. Territory. Natural territory. Affiliation. Susie. Level. 96. Area. 200,000 square kilometers. Building. Watching pool. City Lord's mansion. Pond. Fan building. Transformation. 100,000 source crystals per day. 10,000 source points per day. Residence. 13 million. Power of faith. 15 million strands per day. From 5,000 square kilometers, directly increased to 200,000 square kilometers. In this range, even the largest city in the Vermilion Bird territory, Vermilion Bird City, is not 200,000 square kilometers. And this is just the 6th chapter. Susie looked excited. He is too aware of the benefits of a large territory. With his current background, even the children of those super families, Susie is not afraid at all. Even his territory is even worse than that. If Feng Judian learned of his idea, I'm afraid I have to give him a blank look and say, even if the direct descendants of the super family, the territory is not as big as yours. This is about 200,000 square kilometers in size, right? In the void beyond the small heavens, Feng Judian was stunned for a moment, with a shocked expression on his face. It includes 5 regions in the southeastern region of the Endless Continent, and its territory has already reached 200,000 square kilometers. Li Zimu nodded slightly, also shocked. What rank has he reached now? 8th rank, or 9th rank? Feng Judian couldn't help asking. Wu Qingying shook her head. Not sure. Suddenly a sense of tension arises in my heart. If it is the future, her so-called extremely talented master. The result was surpassed by the apprentice. At that time, how dare she say that she is unparalleled in talent? No, when Susie comes out, I'm going to attack the realm of God King, I can't wait any longer. Wu Qingying made a decision in her heart. In fact, she was already ready. But every time a breakthrough is approached, she will always feel a certain crisis. But now she couldn't wait any longer. Susie's territory is too different. It's really hard to imagine how strong he will be when he becomes a god. Sister Yinger, I think when Susie comes out, you need to talk to him. The bigger the territory, the better. Li Zimu frowned slightly, with a worried expression on his face. If it is 5 or 6,000, 8,000 square kilometers of territorial area, she will think that Susie is the pride of heaven and evildoer. But now with an area of 200,000 square kilometers. Too big. It is too difficult to turn into a planet in God's domain. Well, I do need a word of warning. Wu Qingying nodded. When she became a god at the 9th turn, her territory was only 50,000 square kilometers. Now Susie has 4 times the size of her original territory. But when she survived the calamity of becoming a god, also almost failed. However, as a plant type, Susie, the calamity of becoming a god is not the same as other territories. Experience of other lords, it is not suitable to be placed on the plant system at all. That's why she didn't worry much about Susie. Mo Shang frowned. With a territorial area of 200,000 square kilometers. 0. Does he really have hope of becoming a god? It's just a kid from a small place. Do you really think that the bigger the territory, the better? Lin Dong, the lord of the White Tiger, couldn't help sneering in his heart. If its territory is thousands of kilometers or tens of thousands of kilometers, then he will call Susie the next Wu Qingying, another peerless evildoer of the human race. But Susie has now increased its territory to 200,000 square kilometers. He, dead. It's too late. Azure Dragon Lord Zhao Chengsheng sighed. There used to be many geniuses. In order to increase its strength, it will spare no effort to expand its territory. Strength before becoming a god. Invincible, however. When other lords of the same generation became gods one after another, he was the only one who was tortured to death by the calamity of becoming a god. In the end, even if the king of gods personally took action to prolong life, but still did not complete the catastrophe of becoming a god, in the end, he fell helplessly. Since then, the major family forces will force all their children to stop territorial expansion. Hey, P-Canon is about to evolve with the hero. The moment the territory is expanded, Suzy saw the P-Cannons and Juya. The factory began to emit a faint light of evolution. Report 1. 43%. Chapter 172. The Path to Godhood of Plants, inspired by P-Canon. After entering the demigod, territories are not very helpful to the evolution of arms and heroes. Heroes and arms are different from lords in becoming gods. After entering level 90 demigod, heroes and arms. Only by touching the power of the illusory law. In order to enter the god level, the process of contacting the law is divided into 10. Every time you comprehend 10%, then the data will be upgraded by one level on the template of the arms or heroes. 3000 laws of the universal Dao. All roads can become gods. But if you want to become a god, understand and touch your own laws, it is extremely difficult. And every conversion of the Lord's territory, they are the most direct manifestation of the origin of the planet. For its arms and heroes, it was a rare, 597, encounter. This time, go directly to 6 rotations, and the original star core is almost manifested. With their aptitude, I don't know how much they can get from this. Suzy secretly looked forward to it. Time passed bit by bit. The entire territory seemed to have fallen into silence. Not only Suzy's arms and heroes, even the attached Larks, Keisha and Ina. They all realized that this was a rare opportunity. They all fell into closed-door practice. They are similar to the cultivation of heroes. It is also a process of understanding the law. Nothing to do. Suzy began to sort out today's consumption and harvest. After the territory upgrade, I only have 10 million source crystals and 130D city source points left in my hands. But after the expansion of the territory and the elimination of hundreds of lords in the 4 major domains, my pockets have bulged again. Suzy smiled lightly. I feel that people are not rich without windfall, and horses are not fat without grass. This is also one of the goals of Xiao Zudian's arrogant battle. Concentrate resources and cultivate true arrogance. Suzy gathered all the source crystals. There are now a total of 250 million source crystals and 21 million source points. It is enough to transform the territory again. Suzy sighed. Real. These lords are too rich. Who can come here? Rarely are civilian students. Almost all are descendants of the god family. They all carry a large number of source crystals in their hands. It seems that we really need to think about how to get through the wool of these big families. Suzy rubbed his chin. No way, I still need to rely on them for the source crystals I need to become a god. The more I think about it, the more Suzy thinks this is a good way. If possible, Suzy intends to give them Boda before leaving. After summarizing all resources, Suzy opened the territory panel. Territory. Natural territory. Affiliation. Suzy. Level. 96. Area. 200,000 square kilometers. Building. Watching pool. City Lord's mansion. Pond. Fan building. Transformation 2 million source crystals per day. 200,000 source points old. Residence. 13 million. Power of faith 15 million strands per day. Sit and collect 2 million source crystals every day, and 200,000 source points. Slowly accumulating at this speed, I don't know when it will continue. Suzy shook his head. It feels like Ming grabbed it faster. Just then, each of the P-Cannons, the light of evolution on their bodies gradually dissipated. Beep beep beep. Quote question mark question mark question mark. Tilde operator. Beep beep beep. One by one, the P and P-Cannons yelled excitedly. Suzy immediately checks the information of one of them. Name, P-Cannon. Race, plant. Level, 92. Physical, 18 million. Agility, 15 million. Spirit, 17 million. Skills: Annihilation Bomb, Cloud Explosion Bomb, Thermobaric Bomb, Neutron Bomb, Electromagnetic Gun, Interstellar Rail Gun, Scarlet Pillar, World Destroying Gun. Law of Destruction 20%. Fire Rate, 10,000 rounds s. Loyalty 100% permanent. Introduction. Caliber represents justice. Caliber plays the role of truth. Level 92. Comprehend the power of 2 layers of law. Seeing the level of the P-Cannon, Susie nodded slightly. With P-Cannon's intelligence level, it's pretty good to be able to reach this level. Although already level 92. But the P-Cannon can't even transmit sound. IQ is always equivalent to a human 2 or 3-year-old child. Can only say, wisdom limits the growth of P-Cannon. What? Suddenly Susie's eyes suddenly burst into a bright light. The new hero Laurel God Tree, her skills have the ability to enlighten wisdom and enhance wisdom. Can it enlighten the P-Cannon? Susie felt that his discovery seemed very likely. Directly use the authority of the Lord to summon the Laurel Tree. Introduction. Lord, the Laurel Tree was moved over, seeing Susie, sent a question mark. Yugi, can you help P-Cannon to open up his wisdom? Susie immediately asked. When the Laurel Tree heard the words, its branches rustled. Introduction. My lord, you can naturally think about it, but his level is too high, and my current level is too low, so the effect is limited. Hearing this, Susie was not disappointed, but very happy. This means that 2000 P-Cannons have the possibility of becoming gods. It also means, from now on, all the troops he can summon 2.3 can become gods. This undoubtedly raises the possibility of plant-based units to a higher level. It also means that plant-based arms are no worse than any arms. When they wake up, I will take you to the Zerg world together. Susie thought for a while and said, now is the critical moment for the deification of the territory. Several newborn god trees. If you can quickly reach the 9th level, you will not miss the opportunity to transform the territory. This will shorten the speed of several god trees becoming gods. Introduction. Yes, Lord. The Laurel trembles. Next, just waiting for everyone to wake up. But Susie never expected. This wait is 3 days. Report. 43%. Chapter 173. Reorganizing the territory, 2 kittens, and the incredible Kesha. 3 days. Flashed by. In 3 days, because the world tree migrated into the small world, Susie used the authority of the Lord to replan the orientation of the buildings in the territory. With Lord's Mansion as the core, divide the 4 major streets in the southeast, northwest. Fan Lu Wine Pond, Amusement Park, Fish Pond, Wanbao Tower, Catgirl Theme Park. The 6 buildings were upgraded to level 90 by Susie consuming source crystals. All zoned into East Street, a street of eating, drinking and having fun. This is Susie's positioning for this East Street. All relevant buildings obtained in the future will be put into this street. Watching Pool, Lingquan, Secret Garden of the God's Summer Palace. After the 4 major buildings are also upgraded to level 96. Zoned onto West Street. The most beautiful thing is West Street. All the beautiful scenery and natural color is gathered here. The birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant, the clouds are misty, and the scenery is intoxicating. Apartment was placed alone on South Street. But just one building occupies almost half of South Street. Hereafter it will be the residential area of the residents. 25 Finally, there is North Street where Planetary Engine is located. It is in the 4 streets. Most desolate, but only temporarily. Mingyu Lake continues to surround in front of the Lord's Mansion, with sparkling water. 3 days. Susie also took advantage of this rare opportunity. Experienced all the buildings in the territory. Especially Wanbao Building and Catgirl Theme Park. Wanbaolo, a lot of source crystals were consumed by Susie and raised to level 96. A 9-story Wanbao pavilion is formed. From low to high, the original stone is divided into 9 colors. 1 color is the lowest and 5 colors are the highest. Susie cut out the white equipment scimitar from the 1-color rough stone on the first floor. Also in the 9 layers of 9 colors, the purple equipment treading cloud boots was cut out. Good luck. In Catgirl Theme Park, Susie was a little surprised. Because Chi-Chi arranged 10 catgirls dressed in maid outfits. Master, welcome. Melodious voice reminds Susie of the catgirl maid cafe I went to. But only here is the real cute cat girl. What impressed Susie the most was 2 kitten girls named Chocolate and Vanilla. The 2 maidens are the cutest and most likable of all the catgirls. Moreover, Susie felt fluctuations in the 2 women. After asking, just got it, the 2 catgirls actually absorbed cosmic energy within 3 days of being exposed to magic. It's just not reported yet. This surprised Susie. I didn't expect that in my territory, there are actually 2 heavenly groups. 3 days, although it is not comparable to Chi-Chi, it is still a magical talent that surpasses geniuses and reaches the level of monsters. The 2 of them are expected to become gods in the future. Susie is happy. Just wandering around the territory, I discovered 2 rare magic geniuses. Susie then transferred the 2 kittens to the Lord's Mansion. Let them be in charge of the Lord's mansion, and the little goblin will be in charge of the management in the future. On the evening of the third day, Suzy is playing in the atrium of Mingyu Lake, rubbing Chi-Chi rabbit ears. Suddenly on the Steel City wall in the east, a burst of strong energy fluctuations erupted, and countless sword chi soared into the sky, sweeping across the sky above the territory. Woke up. Suzy raised his head abruptly, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. After 3 days, I finally woke up. At this time, West Wall, South Wall, North Wall. The 3 heroes also woke up. Horrific fluctuations erupted on the 4 walls. Ensuing, it is in Lord's mansion and apartment. The goblin is also awake. There are several zergs and that angel. Now we're all rushing together. Suzy chuckled, and put the blushing, almost dizzy, aside from his lap. Suzy's divine sense enveloped the entire territory. Come to Huxon Pavilion. All the heroes and affiliates who just woke up heard the voice of Suzy in their ears. Slightly stunned, he rushed towards Suzy quickly. Master, what I comprehend is the law of life, and I comprehend more than 40% of it at a time, and almost as much as 50% of it. When the little goblin arrived, she sat sideways on Suzy's lap, with her arms around Suzy's neck, with a look of begging for praise. Suzy chuckled and kissed her on the forehead. Good. With the legendary aptitude of the goblin, it is already a pleasant surprise to be able to comprehend more than 40% at one time. 50% is a hurdle to touch the law. Many lords' arms and heroes. They were all tortured to death by this hurdle. But judging from the situation of the little goblin, if you comprehend it a few times, you will definitely be able to successfully cross over. Complimented by Suzy, the little fairy's charming eyes were bent into crescent moons. Subsequently, Xiaoju, Hu Mashu, Shenliu, parasitic spores, arrive. The little goblin got off Suzy in a sensible way, walked to Chi-Chi and sat down. Suzy clearly felt that the aura of these heroes was stronger than that of goblins. Soon, Bailingzi, Aina, and Keisha also came. Owner, owner, owner. The 3 women bowed slightly to Suzy. Suzy nodded and asked them to sit down too. Master, I have directly comprehended 40% of the Tao of Light this time. According to your human data, I have already reached level 94. Keisha was the first to speak involuntarily, raising her snow-white neck, showing a very proud look. The same is true. She didn't even think that she could comprehend the 4 levels of Tao at once. To know the comprehension of Tao, it takes a very long time for all races in the universe to accumulate. But she comprehended the 4 levels of Taoism in 3 days. This speed is enough to be called a monster. Master, I have also comprehended 40% of the Dark Way. Master, just like Sister Bai Lingxi, I have also comprehended 40% of the puppet principles. Bai Lingxi and Aina spoke one after another, their voices were melodious. The 2 women's complexions were rosy, and there was an unconcealable joy between their brows. Apparently comprehending the 4 levels of Tao at once. For them, it is a very joyful, even crazy thing. Very good, I hope to become a god because of glory. Suzy also smiled and said, they are now part of the territory. The stronger they are, the happier Suzy will be. With Suzy's compliment, 2 lovely dimples appeared on Keisha's face. What about you? Suzy looked at his 4 heroes. My lord, I have comprehended 60% of the principles of the sword. Xiaoju said lightly. Gigi, Lord, I have comprehended 60% of the Tao of devouring. Hu Mashu said with a smile. My lord, I have comprehended 60% of the principles of faith. Shenliu's gentle voice also sounded. My lord, I have comprehended 60% of the principles of the soul. The parasitic spore said finally. After the 4 heroes spoke, Keisha was the first to widen her eyes. How is this possible? Report. 43%. Chapter 174. Terrible potential without superior talent, go to the insect nest. 60%. Angel Keisha's wings spread out suddenly, her beautiful eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief. Just one epiphany. How could it be possible to achieve 60% comprehension? For ordinary geniuses, even in such an environment, it is still not bad to step into 1 or 2% at a time. Even if it is Tianzhao an evildoer, 30% to 40% has reached the limit. Wanting to rely on an epiphany. Into 50%. In human terms, it is tantamount to eating people and talking about dreams. But now Suzy's 4 plant heroes. But told her. They comprehended 60%. This made Keisha, who was proud of her talent and appearance, very unconvinced. The pretty faces of Bai Lingxi and Aina were also shocked. A 3-day epiphany. To have directly comprehended 60% of the principles from scratch, this has overturned their cognition. How could it be possible to have the qualifications of a living race? So terrible. You don't believe it. Susie felt amused. They don't even know what it means to have superior potential. Comprehend 60% of the principles at once. This is probably a normal level for heroes with no superior talent. Even, Susie suspects that if it is not the territory, there is only transfer. They may use this to comprehend 80%, or even 90%. After all, the qualifications of these heroes. It's just too powerful. It's not unbelief, but it's simply impossible. Although Keisha didn't want to refute Susie, she really thought so in her heart. Susie looked at Bilinxi and Aina. The two also showed hesitation. Then show it to me. Susie turned his head and smiled at the heroes. Obey, my lord. Next moment, 4 huge auras rose into the sky. For a moment, the Tao around the 4 heroes is pervasive, and the aura is entangled, and it is looming. Over it, each of them gave birth to a colorful beam of light symbolizing comprehension of the Tao. Keisha looked up, her expression shocked. Lu Zhang, really Lu Cheng. Keisha came back to her senses with wide-eyed eyes. Looking back and forth at the 4 heroes with eyes like looking at monsters. Are these really plants? Why is the aptitude of plants so terrible? Keisha is the princess of the angel clan. Naturally has its own pride. Although her talent is not the strongest among the angel clan, she is definitely not weak either. But today compared with her master's hero, her talent has become so unbearable. Master, the future achievements are limitless. It is the blessing of Bilinxi to be accepted by the master. After a brief shock, Bilinxi immediately bowed to Suzy. My family congratulates the master. With these 4 assistant masters, the future of the master will be smooth. Aina also bowed. It doesn't have to be like this, no matter what you were before, but now that you have joined my territory, you are part of it. Suzy waved his hand. Then he smiled at Keisha and said, how is it? Do you believe it now? The facts are right in front of you, how can Shaw not believe it? Seeing Suzy's teasing eyes, Keisha's face turned red. At the same time feeling in my heart. Originally thought that Suzy accepted them because of their potential and experience. But now I know. It turned out that she was thinking too much. She can't even match Suzy's hero class. Then why did Suzy accept her? Keisha couldn't help but fell into deep thought. Is it a picture of my body? Keisha made a smart move. After all, she has nothing but beauty and talent. Regardless of strength or talent, Suzy suppressed herself to death. The only answer left, it was because of his own body. After all, I heard that humans always like to do some very evil things to angels. Thinking of this, Keisha's wings contracted violently, her white teeth bit her lower lip. Carefully cast a glance at Suzy. Only then did I discover that. Surprisingly, Suzy was surrounded by rare and peerless beauties. A goblin who is even more charming than the 9-tailed fox clan. Chi-Chi, a big-hearted and enviable rabbit man. Beside her is Xiao Wanqing of Gaoleng Yuji. Coupled with the soft and tender Aina of the Zerg, and the extremely fanatical Lark. Adding the angel clan's all-powerful self. The more she thinks, the more she feels. The reason why Suzy accepted himself as a subsidiary. It's just greedy for your body. But now it is already his subsidiary. There is no strength to resist. So, if he is really greedy for herself, then she can only endure the pain. But she is afraid of pain. Angel girls are the same as human girls. It hurts the first time. And she is most afraid of pain. Just think about it. Keisha's body couldn't help shaking Li Wangchao. Suzy doesn't know Keisha's thoughts. If known, he must give her a hard look. It can only be said that the invisible brain supplement is the most deadly. Bilinxi and Aina, I will go to the insect world with you later. Territory conversion is over. Suzy planned to bring Claire's nest back as soon as possible. The territory has been transformed. Power of faith. It also needs to keep up as soon as possible. If you add Bilinxi's tens of thousands of insect soldiers, it will shake. The power of faith is born. Enough to double again. This is too much temptation for Suzy. It is inevitable that the night will be long and dreamy. It is better to move immediately. Yes, my lord. The second daughter did not refuse. After all, it was good business. Report. 44%. Chapter 175. The golden crow turns into a rainbow. All people seek the crow. Natural collar over the sky. A ray of light flashed by. 3 figures emerged. It was Suzy, Iru and Bilinxi. Where are the coordinates of the insect world? Standing in the void, Suzy asked Bilinxi. The insect world is located in the northwest corner of the endless continent, and here is the southeast corner of the east road. The distance between the two is too far. If you want to rush there normally, it will take countless hours to get there. Bai Lingxi explained. Suzy nodded. This is almost oblique across the entire endless continent. The distance is too far. But, didn't Aina and Claire come here very quickly? The reason why Claire and I were able to come here was because we changed the landing location before we came out of the world battlefield, and we landed directly near the Great Rock Desert. Aina seemed to understand Suzy's doubts, and said softly. Master, on the Endless Continent, there are some cross-domain teleportation arrays. We can find the teleportation arrays and teleport them there. Aina suggested, unlike gods who can tear space, enter subspace, and jump. No need, because of trouble. Suzy shook his head. Does anyone know where the cross-domain teleportation array is? If the search is slow, I am afraid that the next world battlefield will begin. Wen Yan, Bai Lingxi and Aina looked at each other silently. In addition to this method, there is no other way. But the next moment, they couldn't help but 657's pupils shrank. In the palm of Suzy's right hand, a golden chariot appeared. Go, Suzy threw Golden Crow Sky Servuorto the front. With the shining golden light flashing by, Golden Crow Sky Patrol growing rapidly. 9 huge divine beasts, the Golden Crow, manifested and formed. The invisible divine chain of order connects the 9 golden crows with a magnificent palace behind them. Go in, Suzy whispered to the 2 women. After turning around, the person has already stepped into the hall, sitting on the top, the red gold throne as wide as a bed. Outside the chariot, Bai Lingxi and Aina stood in place. They looked at the 9 pure-blooded golden crows pulling the cart ahead. Then look at the Beizong Palace, which is simply extravagant and luxurious. Sister Bai Lingxi, is this a legendary car? Aina asked Bai Lingxi in disbelief. Of course, only legendary cars have such extravagant ostentation for manifesting 9 legendary golden wool cars. If the master turns this chariot into a divine weapon in the future, then these 9 golden crows are likely to turn from virtual to real. Quote. At that time, there will be the real 9 pure-blooded golden crow divine beasts. As he spoke, Bai Lingxi's graceful body couldn't help trembling. She never thought that her master, Suzy, could have such a powerful chariot. Such a legendary car, Lian Zhu Shendu will be moved by it. After all, once promoted to an artifact, that would give birth to 9 true golden crows. Let the 9 golden crows pull the cart. Can do. The heavens are hard to find. Perhaps being able to become the master's subordinate, in fact, it may be our opportunity. Aina suddenly said softly, thinking of what I have seen and heard in the past few days after joining Natural Leader. She is unimaginable. How did Suzy do it? To be able to accumulate such a huge foundation in a short period of time. Its territory is huge, unheard of. The legendary buildings in the territory are one after another, extravagant to the extreme. After being told by Bai Lingxi, she already knew the horror of P. Cannon. It can be called the master of the battlefield. After these 3 days of epiphany, she saw again the terrifying potential of the hero Suzy. Now, he randomly took out another legendary army group that the gods were so excited about. And his terrifying strength, to count in detail. She didn't find any of Suzy's shortcomings. Almost every item. He did it all. Amazing. She felt miracles in her master Suzy. Following such a master, she doesn't even know. Where will his limit be in the future? Aina's heart is very complicated. Originally, she should have been angry and resentful of Suzy for taking her captive. But what Suzy did, but made her unable to hate. If other human races see their own appearance, I'm afraid it's already impatient, but Suzy never showed the slightest CFFH meaning. This made her happy, but now she was a little disappointed for some reason. She feels compared to Suzy, like dust compared to shining stars. It was so shiny that she couldn't open her eyes. Perhaps, I should take the initiative to integrate into the territory. Aina's heart sprouted. She wanted Suzy to be closer to him. Let's go, it is our 3 lives that we are lucky to meet Master. Bai Lingxi took Aina's hand and boarded the palace that surprised them. Next moment, 9 golden crows fluttered their wings together, and together with the splendid palace, it turned into a colorful rainbow and galloped away. What is that? Endless continent. Someone found a colorful rainbow in the sky. It came galloping from the southeast, and then disappeared in the blink of an eye. Some lords responded quickly. As soon as it was discovered, identification techniques were used to initiate identification. Golden Crow Patrol. Type. Car. Quality. Legend. Grade. Question mark. Introduce. When the lord saw its quality, his pupils shrank immediately, and then he let out an exclamation. FK. Legendary car. How can there be a legendary car here? When he looked up again, Cheng Hong has disappeared from sight. No, I have to pass this news to Dr. Tien. After finishing speaking, he directly spoke on World Channel. Brothers, I found a legendary car. Nonsense, do you still need to say it? Now the whole world is talking about it, okay. Your home is disconnected, you only know now. He was a little confused. You only know when you have swiped thousands of messages up. Many lords have seen that legendary car. Some even use props. A clear picture was taken. His pupils widened when he saw the clear picture. Damn it, it's only gold. Whose car is this? Jinwula car, this is too awesome. He hurriedly checked the message below. Golden Crow Sky Patrol. This reputation is so powerful that there are really 9 Golden Crows in the army. Except for the gods, who is qualified to ride a legendary chariot. So ostentatious. Aren't you afraid of being robbed? I have already calculated his route. He is about to fly to me, watch me stop him. Sorry guys, I got hit and killed. Is there a group of brothers to pursue the legendary chariot? This may be the only chance in a lifetime. Go together, lose together. Count me in. Damn it, tens of thousands of people signed up. The Lord found. More and more people are responding. Everyone wants to pursue the legendary car. After all, this may be the only chance in their life. Report. 44%. Chapter 176. Closed Realm, Frightened Zerg Tianzhao. In the void beyond the small heavens. Hey, where did he get the legendary chariot? Seeing Su Zi take out the golden crow to survey the sky, Feng Judian suddenly exclaimed. To know, such a legendary car, it is extremely rare among legendary items. Even she has become the upper god. None of them. But now, Su Zi, a person who has not yet become a god, took out one. How does this not shock her? I don't know, I feel that my apprentice has more good things than my master. Wu Qingying shook her head and sighed. Before she became a god, she lived a tight life. Where like Su Zi, take out a prop at will. It's not an artifact, it's a legendary equipment. Now there are even legendary cars. Sister Yinger, I think someone is being mean. Li Zimu glanced at someone not far away and said. Oh, Wu Qingying heard the words and looked over. Immediately, he saw many high gods staring at her apprentice, eyes full of greed. Next moment, the red blood spear that was put away was taken out again. The monstrous evil spirit erupts. Immediately, the hairs of all the upper gods burst, and they looked at Wu Qingying in horror. From the red blood spear, they felt the resentment of the superior. This spear has killed the high god. A foreign upper god exclaimed. Wen Yan, everyone once again realized the horror of Wu Qingying. My apprentice, I'm covering it. Whoever dares to move, don't blame the old lady for not being sympathetic. Wu Qingying held the blood-red pole of the scarlet blood spear, her tone was cold. Suddenly, some upper gods reacted. They just remembered, Su Zi is not without background. He has a female master who is peerless and very protective. But not all high-ranking Shendu are afraid of Wu Qingying. The legendary chariot is not a doll who has not become a god, so you can keep it. That's right, the big deal is to do it again. Do you really think you are invincible? Wu Qingying, I heard that she was the first genius of the human race. She has a great reputation, but some people don't know how to respect the old seniors. I hope your apprentice will not leave the Blue Star, otherwise you will not be able to protect him if he enters the Cosmic Sea. The upper god of the Chang clan sneered and spoke secretly, making it hard to tell who was speaking. Have the courage to stand up and speak out, don't hide it secretly, stand up and compete with me. Wu Qingying drank angrily, but no one dared to answer. Li Muzzy sneered, if someone dares to touch her Li family members, I'm afraid they will be tired of work. Zerg area, Irina looked deeply. Because of Su Zi, their Zerg suffered heavy losses this time. Even if she is a high god, returning to the family will also be punished. But now she sees Su Zi sitting in a chariot, going all the way to the northwest. She suddenly had an ominous premonition. He didn't go to the insect world, did he? Su Zi doesn't know anything about the outside world. Otherwise, even if you know it, you won't care. The territory is always in emptiness, and the superior Shendu has nothing to do with him. Coupled with the indestructible characteristics of the territory, Su Zi dares to be tough with any high god. If you can't beat it, just call the master again. Now, in the splendid palace, Su Zi was snuggling into Aina's soft breasts, enjoying her finger massage. Have to say, Aina is proficient in everything about dressing men. Gentle hands pressed on the acupuncture points on the head. Extremely comfortable. Master. Next to him, Bai Lingxi knelt beside Su Zi. Qianqin held an amethyst grape in his thin hand, and handed it to Su Zi's mouth. Su Zi opened his mouth and swallowed. Wake up and hold the power of the world, while drunk lying on the knees of beauties. Susie felt nothing but that. 10 hours later, Golden Crow Patrol slowly stopped. Susie got off the couch with the two girls and walked out of the palace slowly. In the sky, 3 crescent moons hang high, and the sea of stars is densely covered. Is it here? Susie looked at the empty void, feeling something was wrong. Aina turned her head and looked at Zhou Dao. It's right here, but there should be a domain gate here. Through the domain gate, you can travel between thoughts and endless continents. But now there is no trace. It's not disappearing, it's being hidden. Bai Lingxi's 4 eyes turned purple, as if he could see through everything. Susie gathered energy in his eyes, a golden light flashed in his eyes. Suddenly, an ancient bronze door tens of feet high appeared in front of my eyes. Ask for flowers. The door is engraved with dragon and phoenix patterns. The ancient door was closed tightly, leaving no gaps. The Zerg is too mean. Susie is speechless. They seem to have foreseen their coming. One step in advance to completely block the insect world. Don't give Susie a chance at all. Bai Lingxi and Aina felt a little embarrassed. They were once Zerg too. Can only say, this is a habit passed down by the Zerg for hundreds of millions of years. Boundary. In the hall at the core. Thousands of Zerg geniuses gathered together, staring at a huge crystal in the sky. Picture in crystal. It was Susie, Aina, and Bai Lingxi. He did come. Don't worry, there is no domain door, he can't open it. If we don't go out, he won't be able to come in. Point 0. If you want to open the space barrier, only the gods can do it. He can't come in. After a long time, he will leave. I feel so aggrieved, to be blocked by a human race. Is life more important than face? Life. Master, without a domain gate, you can't enter the insect source. Bai Lingxi helplessly said to Susie. I feel like I'm going to miss out this time. Wen Yan. Susie frowned, staring at the ancient bronze door with an unkind expression. I'll give it a try. Susie did not give up. Outstretched palm. A palm shattered the void and hit the ancient bronze door directly. Boom. The ancient bronze gate trembled, and the ancient city gate sank directly with a slap. Seeing that only one handprint was taken, Susie murmured, it's pretty solid. Actually, Susie doesn't know. This handprint almost scared the Zerg race to death. This is a domain gate made of artifact materials. How could it be damaged? Gudong, I have a faint sense of crisis. Me too. Don't panic, isn't it just a handprint? The domain gate can block it. Yu Zerg Tianchao calmly said. However, the next moment, it sounded like the beating of a violent storm. Boom, the deafening slapping sound, like the muffled drum sound of a hammer, beat on the hearts of many Zerg races. Make them terrified. I'm afraid that the domain gate will be knocked open by Susie just like that. Report. 44%. Chapter 177. Use the magical weapon, the vast energy. Bombarded a full 100 punches. Susie frowned slightly as he looked at the ancient bronze door that was battered and dented, but still strong. Can't this be broken? He felt that this door was interesting. I don't know what material it is made of. Gudong, what a terrifying power. 10,000 meters behind Susie. Aina couldn't help shivering. When Susie bombarded just now, she really felt the terrifying power of Susie. She is like a small boat in a storm, facing the stormy sea. Is this his strength? Aina couldn't help but stare sideways at him. Master, how strong. It is also the first time for Bai Lingxi to witness Susie's strength. There is only 703, shaking in my heart. This kind of power exceeds the 9th level too much. Damn it, the iron was deformed by him. Feng Judian exclaimed again. After all, his territory is so large, and as a lord, he is naturally strong. Wu Qingying said with emotion. Judging from the momentum and power of Susie's attack, she even thought it was a god making the attack. But across space, there is no domain gate, and the world node cannot be opened at all. Li Zimu shakes his head. I feel that Susie may have to fail this time. This nephew of his is strong. But it's not God after all. Uncertain, Wu Qingying seemed to think of something. Suddenly he smiled lightly. His beautiful face was enough to make Baihua feel ashamed. Hear the words, comma. The two women were a little curious. Zerg area. Phew, it's fine if he doesn't get in. Although Irina lamented the strength of Susie, but seeing that he was unable to break into the insect world, he also breathed a sigh of relief. The insect world has become the last fig leaf of the Zerg. In the nymph world, all the Zerg Tianzhao were killed by Susie. The Zerg really lost face this time. After taking 21 artifacts, none of them could subdue a human lord. Originally the 3-seed level arrogance of the Zerg, but was enslaved by the other party and became a leading party. Now if even the insect world is breached, the Zerg race will probably be ridiculed by the Universe C. Seeing that Suzy tried his best, he couldn't break the OR door. Can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Try the artifact. Suzy murmured to himself. This ancient bronze door is full of toughness, even though it has been beaten and deformed, it is still not broken. Suzy even faintly felt. The door is recovering on its own. Do as promised. Next moment, a scarlet long sword appeared in Suzy's hand. Chenghong sword. Type. Sword. Quality. Inferior artifact. Function. Power plus 500%. Introduction. Chenghong penetrates the sun. I can really penetrate the great sun. Call. Suzy took a deep breath, and then his eyes suddenly became extremely serious. It's just a door. Do you really think I can't break you? Suzy sneered in his heart. The Chenghong sword in his hand is surrounded by red light. Next moment, boom, a monstrous momentum erupted from Suzy's body. In an instant, the cumulus clouds within tens of thousands of kilometers dispersed in an instant. Thousands of miles across the sky, a piece of orange-red appeared. This momentum is a little scary. Feng Judian looked at Suzy and murmured slightly. It is enough to compete with the new gods. Wu Qingying praises. Good job. Maybe there is really hope to open the domain door. The beautiful eyes of Plumwood are shining. After divine blessing. Suzy's breath was several times more terrifying. Boundary. There seems to be something wrong with him. Damn it. He came to beat us with our Zerg artifact. We must not let him break in, otherwise all of us Zerg will be doomed. It's okay. He can't exert the full power of the divine weapon, at most it can be compared to a semi-sacred weapon. And he can't break through the domain gate. Seeing Suzy take out an artifact, all the Zerg Tianzhao's faces became extremely ugly. That's the weapon they Zerg used against Suzy. But now they are being used by Suzy to deal with them. How could their psychology be better? But many Zerg felt that it was impossible for Suzy to break through the domain gate. After all, the domain gate is made of divine iron, comparable to a defensive artifact. God came. It takes a lot of effort. And Suzy has not yet become a god. How to smash the domain door? But the next moment, the originally ugly Zerg turned green completely. I saw Suzy outside the door, surrounded by knives, guns, swords, halberds, sticks, etc. A total of 10 offensive artifacts. Damn it, he took out so many artifacts at once, isn't he planning to activate them all at once? I'm afraid he is looking for death. 10 artifacts are enough to drain all his strength. Nobody has that much energy reserve. Zerg Tianzhao gritted their teeth one by one. They don't believe that Suzy can do it. After all, an artifact. Energy consumed. It is already enough to draw 1.9 dry demigods' whole body strength. 10 pieces. Totally impossible. If Suzy knew what they were thinking. They will definitely laugh at their short-sightedness. 200,000 hectares of territory. The energy in his body is like a vast ocean. Not to mention 10 artifacts. That is 20 artifacts. He can use it with ease. But Suzy would not explain to them. Boom. Endless energy poured into the 10 artifacts from Suzy's body. 10 artifacts. A dazzling light burst out in an instant. Cut. Suzy sipped lightly. The 10 artifacts burst out with light, and they all slashed towards the ancient bronze gate. Report. 44%. Chapter 178. Broken Worm Realm, Versailles Suzy. Not good. The little gods are shaking. When Suzy activated the power of the 10 artifacts. Before the god kings and high gods in the void had time to marvel, their expressions changed dramatically. Little Zudian, right, Da Neng temporarily fabricated it. The upper limit of power is the demigod. Once this upper limit is exceeded, the space will collapse. Originally they thought that even if Suzy used the magic weapon, it is impossible to reach the height of the gods. But now they are wrong. When Suzy wields 10 artifacts, the endless continent, the entire space of the little heavens, began to tremble slightly. The gods will bless the little Zudians together with me, otherwise the little Zudians will be penetrated by him. All the god kings said to the upper gods behind them. Yes, at this moment, no one dared to slack off. One after another shot to bless the little gods. My apprentice, 25, is really not worrying. Wu Qingying smiled and complained to the gods of the human race. But look at his smiling face. The corners of the gods' mouths twitched slightly, feeling that Wu seemed to be showing off to them. For extraterrestrial things, Suzy doesn't care. The 10 artifacts were inspired to the extreme by Suzy. Don't talk about the domain gate. That is, the world will be blown up. Boom. The extremely violent energy directly blasted on the ancient bronze door. Crack. The ancient bronze gate couldn't even block it this time. What was originally beaten has been deformed. Under the attack of 10 artifacts activated to perfection. Totally broken. It's over. The domain gate was broken by him. How is it possible? Without becoming a god, how could it be possible to break the domain gate? Because he has a divine weapon, and it was given to him by our Zerg. Grass. I regret participating in Shaojutian. The Zerg geniuses couldn't help the fear in their hearts, screaming in horror. But how could the power of the artifact be so? Next moment. The energy that annihilates everything from the 10 paths strikes from the void. It hit directly on the continent of millions of kilometers in the insect world. Boom, boom, crack. The continent collapsed, the mountains disappeared, the void shattered, and the sea set off a stormy sea. The entire insect world was instantly disintegrated. Just for a moment, countless insect nests on the Zerg continent were shattered, and the insect soldiers died tragically. And the hall where the Zerg Tianzhou was located, was able to escape the catastrophe because it was in the void. But when they saw the fragmented continent as if it had been cut from paper, they all fell silent. Make them enemies of such people. Isn't this treating them as cannon fodder? Using too much force, I accidentally broke the worm. Suzy chuckled when he saw the fragmented state of the insect world. After all, it was the first time I used the artifact, and I couldn't control the strength well. Wen Yan, the two women behind them gave Suzy a blank look, feeling that he was pretending. But they also marveled at the power of the artifact. It is indeed the weapon of the gods. Easily shatter a boundary. And the gods outside the sky who heard Suzy's words had strange expressions. If it wasn't for our blessing, not only would the insect world be shattered, but even the endless continent would be affected. The Zerg race is completely screwed this time. They were killed by the artifacts they brought with them. Feng Judian smiled lightly. It deserves it. Who told them to be unruly, and ended up taking advantage of my apprentice for nothing? Wu Qingying smiles at the corner of her mouth. Suzy is too good at making face for her. Come out. Breaking through the Worm Realm gate, Suzy no longer hesitated. The imprints of several heroes in the sea of mind communication. Next moment, the sacred tree of laurel, the sacred tree of flat peach, the sacred tree of hibiscus, and the sacred tree of Bodhi. He was summoned by Suzy. Introduction. Lord Lord. Introduction. Lord Lord. Introduction. Lord Lord. Introduction. Lord Lord. 4 heroes appear and say hello to Suzy. Bai Lingxi and Aina looked at the 4 heroes summoned by Suzy. Feel novel. It seems that the plants summoned by the master are all different from each other. Aina couldn't help but say. That's right, each of them not only has intelligence, but I can feel that each of them has an extremely terrifying talent. Bai Lingxi said solemnly. These plants of various shapes seem to be very weak now. But the vitality in its body is exuberant to the extreme. But even Bai Lingxi 607 was surprised. Okay, let's go in. 1. Suzy put away the magical weapons and said to the few people. Yes, the 2 women stopped talking and followed Suzy, stepping into thinking. This time they didn't go through the gate. Instead, it was so majestic, walking in from the broken void. Suzy, he's coming in. Gudong, what should we do? Can we escape? How do you know if you don't try? You can't just sit and wait for death, right? The Zerg Tianzhou couldn't help saying. After Suzy entered the insect world, his eyes swept across the entire insect world. Found that some Zerg wanted to escape. Bai Lingxi, you take the 4 of them to level up. Suzy directly said. The main purpose of coming to the insect world this time is to advance many new heroes. If all the insect races in the insect world are wiped out, it can make many heroes enter the 9th level. Suzy didn't hesitate. Yes, Bai Lingxi said in a deep voice. Now she is Suzy's person and obeys Suzy's orders. Naturally, he would not have any sympathy for other Zerg. Report. 45%. Chapter 179. Confidence Aina, thousands of insect soldiers, dumbfounded Lark. Lark with 4 sacred trees. Fly straight to the densely populated area of insect soldiers. After Suzy glanced at it, he didn't care anymore. With these insect soldiers for them to kill, the 4 newly born heroes must advance quickly. It won't take long. It will be able to catch up with the average level of the territory. Come on, let's go find it. Suzy said to Aina. Well, the slave family follows the master. Aina's voice is soft, like a spring breeze blowing through people's hearts. Suzy nodded. He stretched out his hand to hold Aina, the weak and boneless Qianshan hand. Aina's delicate and pretty face flushed slightly, and her snow-white face was stained with a blush. But she didn't refuse. I have long admired Suzy in my heart. The little hand that was caught took the initiative to hold Suzy's gentle minister tightly. The corners of Susie's mouth curled up slightly. Knowing that Ina has accepted him. Master, Claire's sister's nest, I don't know if it has been destroyed. Aina followed Susie, whispering. After all, they all know that Claire has been captured by Susie. The worm nest is bound to be divided up by the remaining Zerg. I helped Claire bring back the insect nest for the insect soldiers in it. The insect nest can be rebuilt at any time, but the insect soldiers inside are hard to come by. Susie shook his head. According to Claire, there are at least 15 million bug soldiers in her nest. If 15 million bug soldiers are bred again, I don't know how much time it will take. Aina nodded slightly, and obediently followed Susie. She didn't know what the master wanted those insect soldiers for. But she was wise not to ask. She has learned a lot of knowledge in the past, including service, communication, language and other fields. Susie is her first use of this knowledge, and the last. The two came to a canyon in the middle of the continent. A building made of unknown metals, 10,000 meters high. A cylindrical sci-fi building with a length of 100,000 meters. Appeared in front of the two people. Master, the worm's nest is still there, backquote. Aina was a little surprised. Those greedy Zerg Tianzhou didn't dare to destroy the Zerg nest after knowing that they were captured. To know, a hive of a Zerg queen. For other Zerg, it is a huge treasure. Not to mention that the three of them are all seed-level talents. The treasures collected are enough to form a mountain. Well, let's go down and have a look. Subsequently, Susie and Aina landed in front of the sci-fi metal gate. Ding, an unknown person is detected. There is no command from the owner, please leave, otherwise you will be attacked. The two just landed. The insect nest emitted a burst of red lights, and a warning sound came from the ear. Susie didn't care. Stretch out a finger, a little energy gathers, and then is ejected by Susie. Boom. The gate of the insect nest made of unknown strong metal was directly blasted into pieces. Walk in the gate. Among them is an extremely empty square. Numerous dense insect soldiers of all levels, wearing armor and holding weapons. See Susie come in. All the bug soldiers were a little agitated. Without the guidance of their mother, they could only watch the intruder warily. It's still there. Susie glanced around. The number is less than 15 million, but 10 million is still available. This is enough. Master, how do you pay it back now? Aina asked curiously. After all, these insect soldiers look ferocious, and it is basically impossible to take them away. Simple. Susie chuckled, and a golden halo appeared in his hand. Then throw it directly at Aina. Now the purification of the willows. Various excitation modes have been developed by Susie. No need to turn yourself into a glowing priest anymore. The golden halo filled with divine brilliance grew larger against the wind, and finally enveloped the 10,000 Zerg directly. Golden light particles sprinkled down. Tight for a moment. The eyes of the insect soldiers holding weapons gradually became blurred. Finally he knelt down facing Susie. Owner, owner, owner. The voices of thousands of insect soldiers echoed for a long time in the cylindrical insect nest. Hiss. Aina took a deep breath. She thought that this skill of Susie must have many restrictions. But now Susie told her with practical actions. This skill seems to have no upper limit. The other side, Bai Lingxi led the four heroes to a place where insect soldiers were densely packed. Now all the Zerg geniuses are busy running for their lives. These scattered insect soldiers, they simply don't have time to recall. Wait a while, I'll beat them half to death, and it's good that you come to harvest at last. Bailingzi knows the evolution method of the human lord hero. Just kill enemies and accumulate enough experience to level up. This is really the envy of other races. However, before she could do anything, a crisp voice came from her ear. No need to. The four heroes are proud. They are all mythical species with no superior potential, how could they pick up other people's dregs? After all, in the shock of Lark, the four sacred trees moved directly to celebrate in four different directions. Bai Lingxi was dumbfounded. Wait, the worm soldiers here are much higher level than you, don't get lost. What I thought was an easy task, turned out to be a problem at the beginning. However, the four heroes turned a deaf ear to her words, and each found an area and stopped. Bai Lingxi was thinking about how to persuade them to come back. As a result, the next moment, she was dumbfounded. Report, 45%. Chapter 180. Crazy Evolution, Collecting Treasures, World Announcement. On a plain. The top branch of the supreme laurel tree. A bright moon rises and gradually grows larger, as if to replace the real crescent moon. Moonlight. The entire plain was illuminated exceptionally brightly. The insect soldiers who were fighting on the plain looked up at the crescent moon in the sky. Why is there an extra crescent moon in the sky? There are bug soldiers doubting. But the next moment, countless bright curved blades descended from the sky. Puff, puff. The heads of the Zerg races were completely cut off by the falling curved blades. For a moment, there were tens of thousands of dead Zerg. In a basin, Fuzang's sacred tree not to be outdone. Infinite flames ignited from the branches, covering the hibiscus tree. Endless rays of light radiate, terrifying temperatures, and distortions that burn the space. The sky of the whole basin was illuminated. The hibiscus sacred tree turned into a round of brilliant sun. It's daybreak. The resting Zerg opened his eyes and looked towards the sky. Feel some heat in the air. Yet when he looked into the sky, immediately scared out of my wits. Endless magma fireballs scattered from the great sun in the sky in all directions. Boom, 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 like a meteorite falling. The entire basin was smashed into deep pits one after another, and the entire basin was ignited, turning into an abyss of flames. Countless insect soldiers who were still sleeping turned into fly ash. 250. As an auxiliary system, the Bodhi tree itself is not good at fighting. But she also does not want to be underestimated by other sacred trees. Next moment, on her branches, countless Bodhi seeds swayed and made famous sounds. However, these voices, it pierced into the ears of those insect soldiers, but it was like a magic sound. Boom. One of the Zerg went mad, exploded, and died without a whole body. 1, 2, 3. Grades from low to high. The moment more and more Zerg heard the magic sound, his eyes were red, he became mad, and fell into a terrible killing. Either it can't bear it directly, and it explodes and dies directly. Seeing this scene, the sacred Bodhi tree, its branches rustling. As a mythical ancient tree, how could there be no means of attack? Otherwise, it would really become a treasure in the eyes of others. Seeing this, the supreme flat peach tree no longer hides. The body shakes off countless phantom peaches, each flat peach, as if exuding an extremely confusing atmosphere. Just by smelling it, you feel like you can become a god and ancestor if you eat it. The moment countless insect soldiers smelled flat peaches, all in madness, roar, countless crazy insect soldiers have fought desperately for a flat peach. Gudong. CFFB, by Link C couldn't help but widen his eyes when he saw the actions of the four heroes. Well, it's terrible. They are the new heroes. But this means, it is the 5th level of other races, and it is difficult for those of different levels to resist. And, as the killing went on, the light of evolution on them keeps flickering. Level 1, 2nd order, 3rd order, 4th order. For a short time, all the sacred trees have entered the 7th level. And over time, their strength is also increasing. The level and range of Zerg killed are also gradually expanding. Half an hour later, when the areas where the 4 great sacred trees are located are connected together. One side is shrouded in moonlight, and the other side is full of sun. On the one hand, the magic sound pierces the ears, and on the other hand, there is a feast of flat peaches. So vivid, Lark feeling, they're showing her what true invincibility is. Killing the same rank is like killing chickens. Master, all of Sister Claire's treasures have been collected. Aina, who had been busy for a long time, broke down the sweat on her waist and forehead. Thanks for your hard work. Susie smiled softly and took her hand. After subduing the insect soldiers, Susie asked Aina to collect their treasures. After finding it, it was confiscated immediately. The harvest surprised Susie. Weapons of various qualities piled up into mountains. Susie accepted this perfectly, and gathered them all together without hesitation. There are too many weapons and props of various qualities in my hands now. If all of them are replaced with source crystals, it will be a huge harvest. Because it is necessary to become a god, Susie can be said to be masterful when it comes to props of various qualities. Come on, let's go see how those sacred trees are doing. Susie took Aina away. You wait for me outside the territory. Susie ordered the tens of millions of Zerg. These Zerg are all life and cannot be included in the inventory. Susie and the others plan to use props to teleport back to the territory directly. Yes, the leading 9th rank insect soldiers took orders and led the army of insect races to fly out of the insect world from the broken sky. After they left, with a wave of his hand, Susie put the huge insect nest into the inventory. Lord, Master, look, Aina suddenly pointed to the sky and exclaimed. Susie looked up. Seeing a crescent moon and a bright sun across the sky, he frantically chased and lost. And in front of them, it was hundreds of Zerg mother queens who were frantically fleeing. Susie smiled directly, and then looked at the levels of the 2 sacred trees. I'll go, it's only half an hour, and they're already at the 8th level. Susie said in surprise. 8th step. Aina froze for a moment. Wasn't it just the 1st level? This advancement speed is too fast. If we kill all these Zerg Empresses, they might even be at the 9th level. Suzy said slightly excitedly. But these Zerg Mother Queens, although they can't beat the two of them. But each speed is surprisingly fast. Suzy's God Tree hero itself is not good at speed. For a while, the two sides actually entered into a kind of tension. Let me help them. Suzy looked at the space around him, and saw the insect world that was faintly showing a tendency to collapse. It feels like the insect world is about to collapse soon. After all, in Aina's adoring eyes, Suzy made a dodge and appeared in front of a group of huge and fat Zerg queens. A whip kick across a meandering arc. PFF'd. The arrogance of many Zerg Mother Emperors, even without seeing Suzy's appearance, was overturned by an invisible air wave. Seeing that Suzy helped them stop a group of Zerg Mother Queens, the sacred laurel tree and the sacred hibiscus tree, while accelerating suddenly, full of vigor, seize the momentary opportunity. A round of crescent moon at the top of the laurel tree is directly sacrificed and turned into a sharp blade. Brush. Half of the Zerg queens were cut in half. The Fuzang sacred tree was not far behind, and suddenly burst out with fiery divine light. An extremely large fireball was hit towards the other half of the Zerg queen. Zila. The remaining half of the Zerg queens were all turned into fly ash. At the same time, on the two sacred trees, began to manifest the colossal light of evolution. Suzy waited quietly. A moment later, the light of evolution on the two sacred trees dissipated. Thank you, my lord. Thank you, my lord. The two sacred trees can already make a sound at this time. Suzy nodded, very happy with their evolution. Boom. Suddenly, in the sky of the insect world, a huge thunder flashed. Then there was a huge space crack. Go. The insect world is about to collapse. After all, Suzy and the two heroes directly stepped out of the insect world. Others are already waiting outside the domain. Boom. An incomparably loud crash sounded. Suzy turned around. At this moment, the world of insects is like the end of the world, with thunder snakes, landslides and ground cracks, mountain torrents and tsunamis. And also at this time, a reminder appeared before Suzy's eyes. Congratulations, you have successfully destroyed the Zerg world, rewarding 100 million source crystals, source points, 30 million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to make a world announcement? A million. Do you want to